We started early.
Reading.
Greetings.
And welcome to the Transportation Committee meeting. MCB4 has a hybrid policy that can be found on our website. Board members are expected to attend meetings in person unless they have a disability or an extraordinary circumstance. Excused meetings and members of the public will still be able to participate virtually. Members who are joining via Zoom must leave their camera on. And this meeting is being streamed live, maybe on your YouTube channel, and the transcript is being recorded. So let's go around the room. And I am Christine Berthe. I'm the co-chair of Transportation Committee.
Jesse Greenwald, the other co-chair. Hello. Max Goodson, member. Sandra Miller, member. Thomas Garza, member.
Tina Nelson, member.
Rodney Washington, member. Charlie Todd, member.
Do we have anybody of the committee online? No. Okay, all right. So we have a very big agenda today, and we're going to try to, while getting all the input from everybody, it's going to be tight so that it doesn't take us forever. So the first presentation is the Port Authority to present plans for West 30th Street. This is something we had asked a long time ago, and the Port Authority is coming through. And we appreciate that. So Port Authority, I'm turning that to you. Who's going to present from the Port Authority?
Good afternoon. It's Ken Garcia with the Assistant Director with Major Capital Projects. So I'm here with Lucy.
Hello, Glenn.
Hi, Christine. Good evening.
Okay, take it away.
Me.
And hopefully you can make that presentation fit in, 7 minutes, maybe.
We can probably do it in less than 7 minutes.
Can you see
It's
the
like
home
you're
screen?
doing your project in less than 10 years. Burn.
I'm sorry.
Hey. Hey.
Okay, go ahead.
Are you able to see the screen? Just want to verify.
Yes, very well, thank you.
Thank you. So again, we're here for
Hi.
the 30th Street. Leilani?
Yep.
We're here for 30th Street project update.
Sure.
Mhm.
Would you like for me to introduce the project? Happy to introduce the project.
Sure.
Okay, great. All right. Well, good afternoon, and everyone. Thank you for having us. This evening, we're here to provide a project update on the construction design plans for the Port Authority's bus staging lot on 30th Street, which the lot will span from 9th Avenue to Dyer Avenue. And this staging lot will play a critical role in supporting future interim bus operations during phase 2 of the Midtown Bus Terminal redevelopment project. And so when the existing Port Authority bus terminal is taken down and operations shift to the temporary terminal, which you all may know as the storage and staging facility site, as we've been defining it as that. This 30th Street lot will be used to support bus operations throughout that transition period. And so for those of you who are new to this discussion, I just wanted to explain the purpose and need. And so tonight you'll hear from my colleague Ken Garcia, who's a representative from our Major Capital Projects team. Ken will walk the committee through design plans and coordination efforts that's taken place as we advance this work. And then you'll also hear from my colleague Aviva Oppenheim, who will be speaking on behalf of TB&T, which acronym stands for Tunnel, Bridges, and Terminals. And she'll walk everyone through the bus movements and how that will function and be experienced in this area once the staging lot is in use. So with that, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, Ken, but I wanted to frame the discussion for folks. I'll turn it over to you.
Not a problem. Okay, so again, we're going to do the 30th Street update. Existing conditions, I think everyone here is familiar with this area, but again, we're looking at the area of 30th Street between 10th Avenue here and 9th, where Dyer Avenue comes in a Y intersection and kind of flares across onto 30th with 2 lanes coming down onto 30th, and traffic goes on 10th Avenue, goes right onto Dyer Avenue and proceeds onto Dyer Avenue here. And from 9th Avenue, you have a through lane that comes across the north side of 30th and comes up Dyer Avenue. So the idea here is to reconfigure this intersection into a T intersection, and the next slide will show the end state condition. So as you see here, this intersection is now teed off, and traffic coming down Dyer Avenue will come down to a signal and proceed at that point, make a left-hand turn onto 30th Street. This also uses the realignment of the 30th Street curb to match the Tishman Spire expanded curb. That will be an existing condition by the work done by Tishman Spire, so that is coordinated. We also are now, this area in red is an area that is going to be closed off. Traffic is no longer going to be making a right-hand turn from 10th on the 30th. That traffic is making a turn here from 10th Avenue at 30th, coming down, and then is able to, at this traffic signal, is able to make a left and come up Dyer. So this frees up, this area is no longer going to be used, so that will be closed off, fenced off, and the X barrier will be extended and close off this sidewalk area to the north of this area here. On the east side, since we are teeing off that intersection and the traffic is no longer coming up on 30th, this area is now an expanded bus lot. This is currently bus operations. So this allows us to expand that lot and have bus operations continue and have flexibility for TB&T to use that site. This intersection here is reconfigured. We have worked out with this, so you'll have a crossing on this side as the bus lot comes out. You'll have a crossing on the east side, and you have a crossing across the Dyer Avenue. This signal has been coordinated with DOT, and there is a all pedestrian movement where all traffic is stopped except for traffic that is coming out of the U.S. Postal Service, and they will have to yield to pedestrians as they cross. So this has an all pedestrian movement. You also have a bike lane on the south side of 30th Street. There is a separation when bus traffic comes down Dyer and turns left. You will have some movement goes into the bike lane here, but at this point, all this bike movement is stopped at this location, so there should be there's no bike movement on the bike lane as these vehicles are turning. So next slide, I'll go over the DOT coordination. As I said earlier, the 30th Street design has been coordinated with Tishman Spire. Their sidewalk on the south side is going to be expanded, and it's going to be treated in existing condition for our project. Like I said earlier, there's a bike lane that's been incorporated on the south side of the 30th Street. It overlaps with the southbound turning lane and the bike lane, but the eastbound traffic is stopped while the southbound traffic is turning. All the intersection geometry, traffic signals, and lighting designs have been reviewed by DOT, and right now they're reviewing the sidewalk curb and roadway application permits. So the next slide will go over a schedule. So right now, in April 15th of this year, we released bid documents out. We received bids on May 14th. We are anticipated to go next Tuesday, the 23rd, to the Port Authority Board for authorization of a construction contract. It is to award in Q3 of 26. We had previously thought of had to schedule the Q4, so we're able to bring it back a quarter with construction starting in Q4 of this year. We previously were planning on starting in Q1 of next year, so again, we're able to pull it back a quarter, and construction is ending right now, completed all the work on Q2 of 28. And next, I will hand over to Aviva from TB&T, who will be discussing bus operations.
Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Ken, are you running the slides?
Yes, I am. I can go to the
Can you
next.
go to the next one? Okay, so this shows how buses will get to and from the new staging lot. The green lines represent arrivals. The dashed line represents bus traffic coming from the south tube. That'll go south down 9th Avenue and turn right into the lot. And then the solid line represents bus traffic coming from the center tube. That traffic will come down Dyer Avenue, go east on 30th Street, up 1 block on 8th Avenue, and then west on 31st, and then down again on 9th, and then turn into the lot. The blue lines represent departures. So the dashed blue line shows buses heading to the north tube via 10th Avenue. The solid line shows buses heading to the center tube or the 39th Street underpass via Dyer Avenue. Next slide. So this shows the layout of the staging lot. So there are 11 gates here. The buses would turn into the lot by making a right off of 9th Avenue. They pull into their gates for drop off on pickup, and then they exit the lot by turning right onto Dyer Avenue. Next slide. So this slide shows the projected volumes of vehicles during the PM peak rush hour at the various intersections. The EIS assumed a maximum of 55 buses using the lot with 15 gates. The most recent iteration assumes 11 gates, so that gives us a maximum of 45 buses. So you can see that 45 at the entrance and the exit of the lot, showing how many buses could come in and go out. Just to note, 45 buses is a worst case scenario. We don't really expect that to actually happen. That would mean we're sending out 4 buses per gate during the peak hour. And under normal conditions, we'll expect fewer turns per hour and fewer buses going in and out of the lot. Okay, I think that's the end of my slides.
So,
All right, so any questions going around?
Mine's maybe silly, so yeah, sorry, can you go back to the slide with where the bus is coming in and out with the green and blue lines?
This one?
No, the other one,
Oh,
sorry.
the big.
The bigger one, yep, that one. Maybe a silly question, but why can't all the buses just be routed through the Dyer Avenue tube and not go all the way up to 10th Avenue? Like, is there a way to just limit all bus traffic to one funnel?
It really depends on which tube they're using. That'll determine the avenue they use. Yeah.
I see, okay.
Yeah, so buses can go to the north tube in 2 ways. They could go up Dyer Avenue and then use the 39th Street underpass and head to the north tube. There are times where the 39th Street underpass is closed, I think during the PM rush. So in that case, if there's a bus that needs to use the north tube, it would have to head up 10th Avenue.
Got it. Like, if they're ever both open, can we like ask for a preference that they use the Dyer Tube Avenue?
You need to stay off the local street, you're saying?
Yeah, exactly, because that's the quickest way in and out.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be paying attention to that and send them on the the express road as opposed to the local street wherever possible.
So I have a bunch of question or clarification. So you said which intersection are going to have a red arrow, which means protected pedestrian crossing?
So that is
Showed up.
this intersection, the intersection of Dyer and 30th. So here's a new intersection, and when there is multiple signal
No,
heads.
I got it. Right, I got it. What about 10th Avenue?
Excuse me?
I thought on 10th Avenue, the turn there would be protected.
Right now, we are doing and changed this intersection. We did not have a change in the signal here on this slide.
Oh, I thought we did. In one meeting, I had the impression that you mentioned that, but that's very important to have.
This, okay.
A protection for that. Because there is a lot of pedestrian going through and a lot of cars going through, obviously. And then the other one we had asked for was for the turning of the cars when the bike lane is going on. I thought we were going to have some timing
In this
Right.
one here,
Yes.
yeah, I'll have to go back and take a look. I do not remember. We do not have the signal timing change on here. I'll go
Okay.
back and check our coordination with DOT.
Yeah, it's really important too, because it's, the bikes are going to be in the way of the turning cars, of a double lane of turning cars.
Yeah, you were saying is on these two turning on a green as the bike lanes are also proceeding. Okay.
Yes. And today, the bike lane is on the other side of those turning lanes.
Is on the north side.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And then we had also asked for right turn blinking at the entrance on Fifth Avenue. You're going to have a lot of your customers crossing that path. And trucks, I mean, buses are going to come in at the same time, so it would be good to have some protection there.
At this one here?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this one we did coordinate with DOT and had a discussion on this and placing a signal at this location. And in order to do that, they would have had to, another signal would have interfered with this crossing, and the stop bar would have put it back and then had to relocate this crossing, and then it would not have, it would ended up coming up across here. So they deemed it that it was better not to have a signal for this right turn into the bus.
So we had also raised the issue of a fence between the queues and the pedestrians on the sidewalk.
Yeah, Christine, so for that comment, we just wanted to elevate that during the points of agreement negotiations, we did commit to a very specific framework of any potential screening on the eastern portion of West 30th Street. So we stated that screening can only be added if four conditions in the agreement were met. And this at a high level includes community election, operational compatibility, external funding, and maintaining main terminal being fully operational. So happy to recirculate, what was committed in the agreement, but any design changes have to remain consistent with the commitments already in place.
So one thing we don't want to have is to have at the time, we didn't know the design of that space, right? And one thing we don't want to have is the sidewalk disappear under a huge volume of people with, luggage, etc. So I think one way or another, whether it was in the POA or not, you need to protect some portion of the sidewalk. So we'll bring it up again. And where is going to be the queuing of the buses?
Sure, the queuing of the passengers happens in the area.
No, of the buses. I just said.
You mean that they're coming in with four turns? The idea is that they will have in the schedule and they'll have a gate available as they come in.
No, but today we know they are all over 40th Street, right? And they are coming way in advance and they lay over somewhere. So
Right.
are they going to lay over on 9th Avenue, all in front of the,
Yeah, I could take that one. Yeah, we're still finalizing carrier agreements that haven't been done yet, but the recirculating buses, the queuing, that will depend on how the carrier decides to operate their fleet. So I can't really commit to a specific operation right now, but I can say we will try to minimize recirculation and queuing wherever possible to keep those buses off of city streets. That is definitely something we are looking to do.
I think you should have a list of locations where they can queue. So that we don't have the problem and then we need to try to fix it. Because we have the problem today, we know it. There's nothing new here. So I think that's, and that's going to be very negative for large, owners and the whole community. If they are on 9th Avenue. So they could be on 12 and they could be on 11. And we should all collectively identify those locations and let them know. So we don't have those problems. And then finally, 30 to 31st is very oversubscribed. And on 31st Street, there are existing stops for long distance. And if we have all these buses circulating around, I think that's going to be an issue that also have those bus stops. So I think we're going to ask DOT to remove those bus stops if you are going to use those two streets in an intensive fashion. Have you had a discussion with DOT about that?
We have not on the operations, Aviva.
No, I mean, which areas are you specifically referring to?
Go further a little bit with your slides. Oh, no, before that, which shows where your,
You want the bus routing one? This one?
yeah. Yes, look down there. You see 30 and 31st where there is a circuit there.
Mm-hmm.
On 31st Street, you have a big operation, sidewalk operation of a long distance bus. And I don't think this is going to be compatible with what you want to do.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry, Aviva.
I think you should raise that issue with DOT.
Yeah, okay. I will take that back to the team.
Yeah, I was just gonna share, all of this feedback is very helpful, and I think that we could, go back to the team and further discuss, future operations here with the feedback we received, and circle back with you, Christine.
Okay. All right, so.
I had one question for Matt.
Yes.
Hey, yeah, actually, I have two questions. That red area that's fenced in that you guys have on your plan,
Which one?
the,
There,
yes. Is anything planned to be in that area in the future, in the fenced area, or is that just like staging for the Port Authority for equipment and whatnot?
Sorry, now this is a closed area to be used by, gives flexibility for TB&T. And there is other possibilities I think there's negotiations on real estate on possibly using that area for development rights.
Oh, great, yeah, it's such a large, nice, flat area, great, fantastic,
Yeah, let me just, this is Hirsch, let me just jump in here. So I think some folks on the community board may be aware, others may not. So, as part of our bus terminal project, we looked at a number of commercial development sites that could help contribute a pilot from the city of New York to help us fund the bus terminal project. Two of those commercial development sites are atop the future new main bus terminal, and there's one development site at this area. And so we are in discussions with potential developers for a development at this site. And so rather than having bus operations there, we do think that the opportunity for a development at this site could come sooner rather than later. And so we are keeping this area closed to accommodate a future development.
Second question, the expanded bus lot for the direction of travel that goes west, is that just for buses or also for personal cars too?
That's for buses.
Just for buses,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, all right, so.
We have one person in the public who has a question. If anyone from the public has any questions, now's your chance. Raise your hand. And anyone here?
What, Janine, can you move this person?
Carry over.
Carrie's coming over. Carrie, please accept to be promoted so that you can speak.
Yeah.
Okay, Carrie, I think you are moving in for the wrong topic. Maybe.
Are you with us?
Yeah, no, I keep trying to press this. No, I'm sorry, folks. Hi, I'm joining us next time with the bike lane later in the presentation. Sorry. Thank you.
All right, no worries. Thanks, Gary.
Okay, so, what, uh, what I'd like to do is recap all these, points that I made.
Yeah.
Oh, Christine Tao has her hand up. Oh, never mind.
No.
Okay. Oh,
Oh, yeah, no,
Uh,
she does, sorry.
We
I'm
can
gonna
pull the
bring-
presentation down.
right.
I'm
So
bringing Tao
essentially,
over. Sorry,
Never
Tao
know,
raised her
Chris.
hand.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mostly, there's literally 35 families.
Are we sure this
Is the person coming over?
Yes, it's
Sorry.
Tao.
All right, go ahead, Dow.
Hi. Can you guys see me? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Hi, guys. So this is my first time attending this committee meeting as a new member of the CB4. I wanted to ask, so as I've not been, I've not been involved in previous discussions with this. I wanted to know, on 30th Street and 31st Street, like, the map there, are there any commercial buses now that are picking up or dropping off passengers? Because I know there are other commercial, bus lines, right? I'm wondering, has that been, are any of those bus lines dropping off or picking up passengers in that area?
Yeah, on 31st Street, there are, there is a lot, and then there is a stop on the street. And all of those pick up and deliver passenger. And in order to reach that area, they have to go through 30th Street and make a left turn. Therefore, what the buses are going to do here is add to this flow and to this, competing interests. I mean, like when FlexBus
Right.
goes backward into the map, all the buses from the bus terminal are going to be stopped. And that's not going to be great for anybody. So that's the point we are going to make in the letter, that this need to be resolved and hopefully remove, some of the congestion.
Okay.
They're all city or there's no
Intercity.
there, yeah.
I mean, can we suggest a bus lane on 30th Street? Because it is gonna be a high volume of traffic. That street does get really congested with buses. They're just stuck there forever. Impossible for them to turn onto 8th Avenue.
Right.
Like, can there be a dedicated lane on 30th between 9th and 8th?
As far as, well, it could, but then you're going to lose all the parking and
Okay.
it's all residential, so that's the friction.
80% of residents don't own a car, so that's probably not an issue.
Yeah, but on that street, there is a,
But it'd be more of an issue if it was commercial. It's residential, most of our residents don't
Right.
own.
I don't know that we should propose that without having any residents of that street, at least,
Sure.
chiming in. I mean, I think this is, there's a lot of
Well, then
competition.
can we notice that for a future meeting?
We could have a discussion on that. And especially because we have people which have complained about the flex bus again, so we can bring that up
It actually,
again
with
and
time,
put it
actually, is
together.
different. but yeah,
Right,
We gotta.
so we can bring that together, but it's going to be ugly. Yeah, it's going to be ugly.
So let's just have that one item on the agenda.
Yeah, that'll be the only item.
All right, so let me recap. The right turn blinking, the intersection which have a red arrows, the fence between the queues and the pedestrian. Relocate the on-street bus stop for West 33rd, no queuing on 9th Avenue. And then, everything we just talked about, that's what we talked about essentially. So this would be the point of the letter, which would go to Port Authority and DOT, because DOT has a lot to say about that. So do we have
And a plan for recirculating.
I'm sorry?
A plan for the recirculating bus traffic,
Right,
a plan for recirculating.
right. The cubes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, any motion? Yep, motion seconds. All those in favor?
All right.
Anyone opposed? No, great, that was everything.
Thank you
Excellent,
very much.
thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, Port Authority.
Thank you.
We appreciate this presentation. We've
Thank
been wanting to get that for a long time. So now we're going to hear from the New York City DOT to present on Chelsea Market street seats on the north curb of 15th Street between 9 and 10. Colleen, do you have teammates?
Hey.
or everybody?
Hi, everyone. It's Colleen Chatterton from City Department of Transportation. How are you? Yes, we have a great presentation that will be delivered by my colleague Kyle Gorman. And we also are joined by a representative from the Chelsea Market. So Kyle, take it away.
Thank you so much, Colleen. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kyle Gorman from the city's DOT, the Public Realm team in particular. We are the public space and pedestrian-focused team at DOT. And today we're here, like Colleen mentioned, to talk about a street seat on 15th Street. I'm going to kick off the presentation, run through some basic background slides, and then I'll pass it to Leah from the Chelsea Market team to run through the rest of the presentation, and then we can run through any questions that you might have. So I'm going to go ahead now and share my screen. I'm going to make it full screen as well.
Good, we can see everything.
All right. That's great. Okay, cool. Thank you for confirming. All right. So like I mentioned, we're here to talk about a street seat in front of Chelsea Market. There's a few different items that we're going to run through with just like the basics of the program, why we're sort of proposing a street seat here, going through some context, design options, and maintenance and operations. And then we'll do Q&A at the end. So Street Seats is a program that's managed by the city's Department of Transportation. It's been around for quite a number of years, actually. We had a number of sites before the pandemic around the city when outdoor dining really wasn't a huge item, nor was so much change now. Like we talk about the curb as public space and for different types of uses, but we did have a lot of success, like I mentioned before the pandemic, with street seats. This is an application-based program where organizations can apply to DOT in order to reimagine the curb as open public seating and a public space that is open to all and anyone from the community. DOT does some internal review of the application, goes through design development components, and then ultimately we come to the community board to propose a street seat and to get any feedback from you all before we go into implementation. Street seats are always installed at the curb line, typically in the curb lane. We have a lot of different design types. A lot of them are structural historically. We've moved more to an in-house SIP style street seats. SIPs, I know this board is very familiar with SIPs. We do them all across the city where we do the paint and the planters to reimagine the streets in different ways. And then once we implement the street seat as a SIP, it essentially becomes a permanent asset on the roadway, like other painted pedestrian spaces like plazas are across the city. So today we're going to be running through a SIP style street seat that we're working with the Chelsea Market team on. This, I want to underscore, is a public space that is open to anyone from the community. There is going to be different types of furniture that the Chelsea Market team will run through. This, I want to just reiterate, is open to anyone. It's not necessarily just for folks who are shopping or visiting Chelsea Market. This would be open to those folks who are, of course, visiting the market, but anyone else who's also walking along 15th Street and wants to take a seat, meet a friend, take a phone call, draw, read, what have you. It is, of course, a great benefit for all the small businesses inside Chelsea Market too that have public limited seating. So if folks did want to purchase things inside and come and sit outdoors, they could as well. But ultimately, like I mentioned, this is a open public space for everyone and really a reimagination of parking as a public space. So with that, I will hand it now over to Leah, who's going to run us through the rest of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle. Hello, everyone. My name is Leah Bassnight, and I'm the general manager for Chelsea Market. Pleased to be here. So we'll, as Kyle mentioned, in terms of background and history, Chelsea Market had initially worked with the DOT to install street seats along 15th Street to serve, obviously, our small businesses in the market, but also the community. The structures were originally approved through the DOT program. However, because the street seat guidelines have evolved over time, we removed the existing structures in November of 2025. And now we're here to seek approval to install new fully compliant outdoor seating. Next slide, please. So why this site? Obviously, we have a history here. We've demonstrated high utilization from our previous seats. But also, since we've removed the seats, we have had, requests from our businesses. They are asking us, what are we doing? Are the seats coming back? But more importantly, what we noticed on our website, we've received a ton of requests from residents and folks that work in the area, questioning where the seats are and are they coming back. So we know that there's a strong demand. As we mentioned before, it's a direct adjacency to our market, to our customers, to the businesses, but it's also, adjacent to all of the other businesses and the workers in the community. This is a extremely heavy trafficked pedestrian thoroughfare along 15th Street. It's, west of the 14th Street subway, and it's just north of the meatpacking plazas. And so we know that this is an important corridor that is heavily trafficked, and we know and believe that these seats would provide a positive impact to the community. Is that someone who is asking a question or no? Okay, I'll continue. So site context, just so you know, this is, we're looking at activating the street, the curbside that is adjacent to Chelsea Market on the north side of 15th Street. We don't plan on activating this entire street, but if we go to the next slide, it is a more sort of accurate depiction of what we're proposing to do. So basically, we're looking to activate two groups, two sections, if you will, of 15th Street. So the next slide. We're going to be using standard design materials, epoxy gravel, some planters, some vertical elements, and movable furniture. And on the next slide, you will see some examples of what we're going to be using. So most of these colors is on brand with Chelsea Market and our marketing. But the benches, our marketing team is sort of looking at whether or not we're going to finish them and stain them, or we are thinking about having a local artist come in and do some really cool painting and give it some like pop of color and some, design excitement. So we're working on that. So to be determined on the bench, but this is sort of what we're thinking about in terms of, color, style, and setup. And on the next slide, this is an example of an ADA table that we plan on using along with the ramp. So moving on to maintenance and operations. I'm sure all of you have, I hope all of you have been to Chelsea Market, but we have vendors. We have a 24 our 7-day-a-week on-site security team inside and outside of the building. Our security surveils the exterior and, they make sure that, they just make sure that people are safe and they're using the spaces appropriately. In addition to that, we have a janitorial team. We have a dedicated janitorial team for outdoor seating. They're there from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. They will set up and break down the furniture at night. They will maintain, wipe it, keep it clean, and monitor it, and then, power wash the area weekly. And we also have a dedicated greeter program. I'm sure you've seen our Chelsea Market greeters. They act as docents inside and outside of Chelsea Market, providing information to people, where to go in the community, how to find the High Line, all those things. But they also serve as an added layer, reminding people that, there's no smoking in the area, prohibiting bicycle riding on the sidewalks and those kinds of things. So we have been maintaining the seats for the last, 4 years, and we will continue if we're allowed to install this new set of seats in the same way that we've done before.
Very welcome. All right. Anybody has any question? Yes.
I have a question, which might sound a little bit silly, but before I came to this meeting, I had to take a phone call. And I saw this area near restaurants, and there were seats there and tables. And I was trying to figure out whether I could sit there or not, or whether it wasn't prohibited because it was associated with establishments. So I'm curious, how will people know that it is public space?
So we typically have signage for street seats that specifies that it is open public seating, that we've historically put on like the ends of the street seat, also typically on tables. So there are rules, general rules that govern the program that we can work with the Chelsea Market team on just signage and messaging, because we know it can be hard, especially for the public in this new landscape of outdoor dining, to sort of distinguish between what is seating for a restaurant versus what is open public seating in the parking lane. So we can make sure that those pieces are clearly communicated to the public in that signage and messaging.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Just to back that up, I've actually felt the same way. I felt that like to be a panopticon, always being watched over by the security staff and also the Chelsea Market branding there. I saw the planter that was proposed with the Chelsea Market branding on it. Maybe just don't have any branding that says Chelsea Market on it at all. I think that would make me feel more comfortable in that space, especially if it's open to the public, but I prefer not to see any branding whatsoever for Chelsea Market. The planters or whatsoever on the seating area.
So in the planter guidelines that DOT developed with PDC a few years ago, we worked, and I'll drop them in a chat in a sec. Actually, I don't even know if I have the chat, so I'll send them by email. There are guidelines that actually allow for a very small logo call out on these planters. The one pictured is more just for communication purposes. The logo, we can work with Chelsea Market to make it a little bit smaller. It's usually not more than 10% of the visible area that is on the planters. So we can work with Leah's team to reduce that down a little bit to be in compliance with those PDC rules, which would allow for a very limited call out. If the board felt that they didn't want any type of call out on the planters, we're happy to, take that back to the Chelsea Market team and discuss further. But as of right, they theoretically could.
Thank you, Kyle. It's a great public space regardless, but it would just be so nice to be clear that this is public space for all.
I mean, is Chelsea Market paying for it? If so, like.
Well, you want to ask a question?
Yeah, who's paying for this?
The Chelsea Market team.
Chelsea Market is paying for setup.
Right, that doesn't, they get their own brand. No, that doesn't give them the completely brand of public street.
Right, no,
There's the signage. That's
wait, one person at a time.
There's a way to do it tastefully, and I don't think what they showed is tasteful.
All right.
That is way too much.
Alan.
Thank you, like the concept. How much of the seating is this being reduced? Are you reducing the percentage of the seating that's already there?
sorry, can you repeat the question?
Are you reducing the amount of seating that's currently available?
That was available.
We're taking up the same, almost the same footprint that we initially had. So we're not
He's
reducing.
asking how many seats you had and how many seats you have now, you will have.
Yeah, because now it's mostly the benches,
Right.
the picnic tables. So you have a lot of families coming in and out of there. Have you decided how many of these picnic tables are going to be as opposed to tables with like 2-3 chairs around them?
Kaysa, do you know how many seats?
Yeah, I can speak to this. So we are actually reusing almost all the picnic tables we had previously, which is like 11. Other than that, we are doing two tops, and some of the ADA size table that are a little larger. So I think in total, the amount of seating is comparable to the one we had previously.
Okay.
I don't have the exact numbers though, unfortunately.
I don't know if these quantities are up to date, but there are in the deck the figures called out.
Thank you.
So I have a question about the program. When we were a huge fan of the street seats, and then when COVID arrived and we had open restaurant, we were under the impression that the program didn't exist anymore. So can you give us an update on if somebody tomorrow wants to apply, what do they have to do?
Yeah, so that is a great point. Street Seats has been in, let's say, a little bit of a holding pattern for the last few years. Before the pandemic, we had a lot of different partners through the Street Seats program, but some of them were like cafes that sort of had a like-minded mission of streets as public space and saw how this could support their small business, but was ultimately open to adding open public seating on the roadway. Obviously, in the pandemic, with the advent of outdoor dining, a lot of that changed, and there was just a lot of just focus on that program for the time. We have, over the last few years, had a handful of street seats across the city. The most notable and nearby example that I think is right outside of CB4 is the ongoing collaboration that we do with the New School. We do a seasonal studio with a design build class there that creates a seasonal street seat for the summer that's created by students as a part of their coursework in the programs there. And that one has been around for quite a number of years. We've had other street seats in other parts of the city as well, but for the most part, it's been a little under the radar. That being said, we have really been keenly interested in sort of bringing the program back to where it was before and maybe even growing it from there with a more renewed focus on continuing at its core, of course, promoting the use of streets as public space, but this renewed focus of focusing on civic and institutional partners, as well as like food markets like Chelsea Market. We've had a street seat historically also with the Essex Market managed by EDC downtown. So there's a few different typologies that we're focusing on with street seats now. So if someone was interested in applying for street seats themselves to manage this open public seating, they of course could reach out to the Manhattan Borough Commissioners team through Colleen or Danielle and speak to the Public Realm team where I'm from. We do have a webpage, nyc.gov/street seats, that has some high-level details about the program overall, and that would be another way for folks to reach out. But we're happy to work with anyone that's interested in doing a street seats as we continue to sort of tinker with what it's going to look like down the line.
Okay, that's good news because we like that.
Good to hear.
Fees, we have, do the applicant pay fees for the space?
The applicant there's no fees that DOT charges to participate in the program. In certain instances, we have collaborations like this with Chelsea Market, where we're able to work with a partner who's able to fund the installation themselves. In other instances, DOT would use its own operational capacity to implement a street seat. But we don't charge a fee to participate.
All right, very good.
We have one member of the public with a question. Janine, can we move Ed over?
Hi, yes, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
go ahead, Ed.
I have a question about the outdoor seating because I live in Midtown Manhattan, 51st Street, and there's two bars between 9th and 10th Avenue, and they're very disruptive and loud. Is there some sort of, you know, curb on something like that? Because I know other streets around my area have like a wine bar or outside eating. It's so calm and quiet. You can't hear anything. But for my problem is I have these two bars on my block that are extremely loud. And
Okay, so what you need to do is first report on 311 and to the DOT, and you need to go to your police precinct council and report on them.
yes,
And go many times. So that you
I,
make sure.
I have been putting in almost every day of the week, and they say that
No,
they
no, I'm talking about the council, the council meeting. There
oh,
is a
the council
meeting.
meeting?
Yes,
I-
yes.
Isn't this the council meeting or is it just a specific
No,
council
this
meeting?
is, we are the community board meeting and the police NYPD as a police precinct council meeting.
Right,
And
but
it's on the website.
right, but they refer me to you guys. They say, well, we could just answer calls. If you want to change things, you have to go to DOT and speak to them about the permission to give to some of these bars because I think there
Well,
should
but
be
so you do have to report on 311 to DOT
right,
and you have to do that also multiple times.
of course. But is there
And
anything
these are
that
the only thing, these are the only thing we can do. We cannot do anything.
is there any committee or board in the city that could you know, I understand that it's good for business to allow people to open up, but sometimes some of these restaurant owners and bar owners are abusive and they take advantage of it and they
So we understand that, Ed, and I'm not trying to shut you down, but the reality is that we cannot do anything about that.
Our role, Ed, is at the front end. We are, not this committee. This would not be the correct committee for this complaint also, but the community board is involved in the licensing of the bars at the front end, but once they're up and running, you gotta take your complaints to the police or 311, unfortunately. But
Okay.
All right, thanks.
It's Colleen Chattergoon from City Department of Transportation. The community board is absolutely right. In terms of noise complaints, it's best to call it into 311 and DEP will respond to it.
Okay. I'm sorry, I just only responded because I came here for another matter entirely, which was the signage on my block.
You're fine. Thank you, Ed.
Okay, and we're sorry that you are so, it's very painful to have noise. So we understand that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm hearing that we like it, we like the installation, everything is cool.
I have a motion.
That do we want to do a little less branding, the branding to be a little less obvious?
Maybe ask for tasteful branding.
And then I wanted to ask to install bike corrals at each end of the thing.
Yeah.
There are
The bike lane's on the other side of the street. I don't know if that.
No, but I mean, that's.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
At least. Colleen, do you think that would be feasible or Kai?
I mean, we know how the community board is very supportive of bike corrals. I mean, we can definitely look at the locations to determine whether they're feasible or not, and we can follow up with the board. I'll be more than happy to do that.
We don't want that to delay, we don't want that to delay the installation of the street seats, right?
That's correct,
So
yeah.
write that down into what is a potential resolution. Charlie,
go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to make a resolution that we vote to approve, but keeping in mind that the board would like to make sure the branding is not over the top on the planters and other elements.
Great.
Or maybe if they want to go a little bit heavier on branding, also go exceed the requirements on public signage.
Yeah.
Either way.
I don't think any Chelsea Market branding should be more than is absolutely necessary.
we said it, do we have a vote?
Second, all in favor?
Right. Okay,
Great.
excellent, thank you so much, good luck.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
love that in those.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank
So,
you.
next item is the Sixth Avenue protected bike lane. Oh my God, what meeting? Big stuff.
We have another presentation that we like to share with the community board, but before I do that, I'd like to introduce some of my colleagues. Of course, this presentation is the Sixth Avenue Protected Bike Lane and Bus Priority Improvement. So I'd like to introduce Dustin Kuhn, who is with our Transit Development Division. He's going to deliver the presentation along with my colleague, Preston Johnson, who's from our bike unit, and we have representative from the MTA who's also going to be joining us for the presentation as well. And joining me this evening is our Manhattan Borough Commissioner who is in the meeting. Her name is Danielle Zuckerman, so I'm sure she would like to say something, so I will give her an opportunity to do so before we go into the presentation, so thank you.
Hi,
Thank
community.
you, colleague.
I don't want to take up too much time, but as Colleen mentioned, we have an exciting proposal both to continue the expansion of the bike lane along Sixth Avenue, as well as add a bus lane that will span from Watts Street to 58th Street. So we can go through the presentation and talk through any concerns you might have. And thank you to our colleagues at MTA for being here with us.
Amazing. Thank you. Thanks for being here, Danielle.
All right, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Great. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having us today. Yes, my name is Dustin Koo, Assistant Director of Bus Priority here at DOT. I'm really excited to be here to present a proposal for bus and bike lanes on 6th Avenue. I'll start by sharing my screen. 1 second. Okay, can everyone see this?
Dude,
Great.
Yes.
we can see it now.
All right. So for this presentation, we'll go through background and context for the corridor, talk about existing conditions of what 6th Avenue looks like today. We'll go through details of the proposal, then go through a summary and next steps for the project, and we'll take your questions at the end. So why are we studying 6th Avenue and why do we want to improve 6th Avenue? As you all may know, 6th Avenue is a major corridor for buses and cyclists. Over 51,000 average weekday bus riders use 4 local bus routes and 27 MTA express bus routes. So there is a greater need for full-time bus priority on 6th Avenue. Cycling has also increased a lot over the past few years. Between 2019 and 2024, we have seen a 20% increase of cyclists on weekdays and 54% increase on weekends. So there is a greater need for wider bike lanes to accommodate this growing demand for cyclists using the corridor. Safety is a huge component of our consideration here, and in our proposal, 6th Avenue is a Vision Zero priority corridor with 3 Vision Zero priority intersections. And those intersections are 6th Avenue at 14th Street, 23rd Street, and 34th Street. So this is just a table of the safety stats. As I mentioned, safety is a huge component of our project. Citywide, comparing citywide, 6th Avenue ranks amongst the top 10% of streets with the most people killed or severely injured. Between 2021 and 2025, there have been 978 total injuries, 87 of them severe, and 3 fatalities. So that leads us to the goals of our project and how this is wrapped into our proposal that we'll go into today. We want to improve bike lane and pedestrian safety along 6th Avenue to accommodate the growth in cycling and provide space for new types of bikes, different sizes, and speed differentials. We want to remove the mixing zones and upgrade to offset crossings, creating pedestrian islands that shorten crossing distances and slow turning vehicles. We want to use these new pedestrian spaces as opportunities to install bike corrals and planters where feasible to really enhance that public realm. And for bus service, we want to prioritize transit in this critical transportation corridor and increase bus speeds and reliability for 51,000 average daily riders. So we're going to go into a lot of information in this presentation. So if this is just sort of the summary slide of what we'll be proposing and the limits of that proposal. So and this is just a quick summary and we'll go through details, but we were proposing to extend. Yes.
Can you try to focus on 14th Street to 26th Street, which is in our district? The rest of it is not.
Yes. Well, so we will have very design specific slides for each block.
Okay.
Yeah, but just overall, for your context, we are proposing to extend the bike lane widening from 35th to 59th. We want to propose offset bus lanes to improve bus speeds along throughout from Watt Street up to 58th Street. North of 35th Street, we are proposing double bus lanes on blocks where the bus stop encompasses the full length of the block. And throughout the corridor, we are proposing public realm improvements such as bike trails and planters. So now I'll pass it on to my colleague, Preston, who can talk about the existing bike lane widening that is currently in implementation and was proposed last year.
Hi, my name is Preston Johnson. I'm a project manager in the cycling and micromobility unit. And I just want to be able to, as Dustin says, give you a little bit of update on where things stand. If you have been to 6th Avenue recently, you've probably seen the changes that you can see in this photograph that limit that green paint is how wide the bike lane used to be, and then that white line is where the bike lane will be expanded to in the future. So we're already started. We were expected to start the new green paint installation today. I wasn't up there today, so I'm not sure if it happened yet, but it's definitely in progress. And it's that work is expected to continue for a few weeks. We're making sure that work will not impact traffic. I mean, I think all of the traffic impacting work is largely done. We're just painting the green paint and the bike lane, so I think it's not going to be affected by the World Cup scheduling. But just to give a little bit of a summary, you can see also how this was formerly a mixing zone, which was our design, which would help at left turns. You would sort of have the motor vehicles and the people riding bikes sort of negotiate that space. It's not the most popular treatment amongst a lot of people riding bikes. And so we're upgrading those to what we call offset crossings, which include the pedestrian island that you can see, that double-lined area there. We're also fully protecting intersections at 14th Street and 23rd and 29th with split phase signal timing. And we are adding new pedestrian spaces that'll be protected with planters.
Great, thanks, Preston. So now we'll go into existing conditions on the corridor, and I'll quickly pass it back to Preston just to talk about the history of bike facilities on 6th Avenue.
Yeah, so I think you're pretty familiar with all the work that we've done on 6th Avenue. We've had bike lanes on the corridor for decades. In 2016, excuse me, we began upgrading those standard bike lanes to protected lanes. That was between West 9th Street and West 32nd Street. In 2021, we extended that all the way up to Central Park. And then in 2024, we extended south from Lispenard to create this full corridor from the park all the way down to the financial district. That segment to the south also was a little bit different on 6th Avenue because it was a wider bike lane. we're seeing higher volumes on Central Park, or I'm sorry, on 6th Avenue, especially going up to Central Park, and also seeing a lot of like wider cargo bikes that made the older, narrower bike lane a more difficult, challenging place to ride. And so by expanding the width of the bike lane, I think we're making it a more comfortable place, a safer place. And we came and asked for approval to expand that in 2025. And that's that section that I was just describing. And that's what's going on right now.
Thanks, Preston. And yeah, so for existing bus facilities, there are existing unpainted curbside bus lanes from 35th to 56th Street. So understand that's not in the CB4 district. They're part-time weekdays rush hour only from 4 to 7 and frequently blocked by illegal and double parked vehicles. So there is no bus party for the majority of the corridor at the moment. Now I'll pass it to my colleague Jamie at the MTA to talk about existing bus speeds along the corridor.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Jamie from MTA. I'm also joined here by my colleagues, Kate, Katerina, Max, and Rob. So going over the 6th Avenue bus speeds, as Dustin mentioned earlier, 31 bus routes travel within the 6th Avenue study area with 4 local routes and 27 express routes. The bus speeds are slow throughout the corridor, with speeds generally slowing down as they travel north, and are especially slow between 14th Street to 59th Street. During the PM peak, local bus speeds are as low as 3.5 miles per hour, and express bus speeds are as low as 4.2 miles per hour. Next slide, please. So on an average weekday in the study area, there are approximately 6,700 people boarding the buses and 7,500 people getting off the buses. The map here shows the bus stop usage for the local routes, where stop usage is highest north of 14th Street, especially by major train stations. And in the study area, we are also proposing to remove 4 local bus stop locations, which we will talk more about later on.
Great, thanks, Jamie. Okay, so now we'll go into the proposal, and you know, in the interest of time, I'll be sure to only focus on the CB4 section. So we'll sorry, let me move my toolbar. Okay, so that would be between 14 to 26, yes. So the design changes throughout the full length of the corridor just based on existing geometry. So for the purposes of your district, we have a standard design between 14th to 35th Street. Here we are proposing to widen the bike lane from 5 feet to 9 feet. As Preston mentioned, this is already currently being installed. New added scope for this project that's part of this presentation is that we would be converting the rightmost travel lane to an offset bus lane. So there would be 2 general travel lanes in this section of 6th Avenue. We would be maintaining parking and loading and curb access wherever it currently exists today. So we would not be removing any parking spaces. In addition, we would be proposing left turn calming treatments at 15th Street, 16th Street, turning left onto 6th Avenue, 17th, 19th, 21st, 20th, and 25th Street within your district. And we'll go over what examples of these left turn calming treatments later on. So we can skip these slides, which are not in CB4. And then I'll skip to this slide, which is a typical block view rendering of what that design I just went through looks like. So this example is from 14th to 17th Street. You can see here that we are proposing to convert the rightmost travel lane into an offset bus lane. At bus stops, the bus would pull to the curb, and there would be red paint here And you can see here, we are maintaining existing parking and loading where it currently exists today. On the west side of the street, the bike lane widening is currently being installed, which is the section that was proposed last year. Here, if you can see my mouse cursor, this is an example of a left turn calming treatment. This is going northbound on 6th Avenue. If you make a left turn on 15th Street, there would be this rubber speed bump that tightens the turning radius. So cars are forced to slow down and observe oncoming cyclists and pedestrians as they're crossing the street. And I can skip these slides and pass it back to Jamie on what the MTA is proposing on the bus service side to improve bus speeds and reliability.
Okay, thank you. So to improve bus speeds and reliability, we are proposing 4 stop location removals on 6th Avenue, at Broome Street, at 12th Street, at 29th Street, and 51st Street. And these proposed stops have a total stop usage of 200 or less on an average weekday and have very close stop spacing as well. After removal, the new stop distances between the previous and next stops will be roughly 1,088 feet to 12,000, well, sorry, 1,297 feet, which is within the guideline stop spacing for local routes for us.
Thanks, Jamie. And just a quick note on the traffic analysis that we did as part of this project. Over the past year, we created a traffic model by collecting existing traffic and pedestrian volume data at every intersection on the full length of the project corridor. And we modeled traffic patterns in both the AM and PM peak periods. Without getting too wonky into the details of the traffic model itself, some takeaways that came out of the traffic analysis is that we found that existing peak volumes on 6th Avenue see about 750 to 1,000 vehicles per hour. And that generally fits into our guidelines on that can be accommodated in 2 travel lanes that we are maintaining in our proposal. We also want to note that according to MTA data, congestion pricing has reduced traffic volumes in the congestion zone by 11%. So we believe that with the combination of this 11% reduction in traffic, along with the existing traffic volumes being able to be accommodated in 2 travel lanes, in addition to signal timing improvements that our signals unit will closely analyze, we expect the proposed design to maintain baseline levels of traffic flow along 6th Avenue. It's important to know that which is standard for all of our projects, we will continue to monitor the traffic flow post-implementation to observe any design changes that need to be made, as well as any signal timing changes that need to be made to really reduce any negative effects of traffic. One takeaway from the traffic analysis that we did do is that we did adjust the design in the southern section outside of the CB4 district to start the bus lane north of Watt Street so that we can accommodate the high volume of traffic that is using 6th Avenue to access the Holland Tunnel.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes.
This is very exciting.
Yes. Yeah, and just a few more slides, and I don't know if you do have time for the next steps. Yeah. This is just an example of the pedestrian safety treatments and left turn calming treatments that I mentioned, just so you can see visually what the rubber speed bump looks like here at my cursor. The painted ped space offers additional ped space for people crossing the street to shorten those crossing distances and provide refuge to separate pedestrians from cyclists. This lists out all the intersections that these treatments would be proposed to be installed. Just a quick note on curb management. I mentioned we're not taking away any parking. Our parking unit is analyzing the corridor to explore more efficient curb regulations to provide higher turnover to help access for businesses along 6th Avenue. So they are considering a mix of 1 hour and 3 hour commercial metered parking throughout the day and early evening. Outside of those daytime hours, it would be followed by passenger metered parking in the evenings and on the evenings and nights on weekdays, and a mix of commercial and passenger regulations on Saturdays. The exception would be within your district between 14th and 23rd Street. As part of the meterless pilot program, there would be no new passenger regulations added, and it would stay commercial only. And so now just go through summary and next steps. As Preston mentioned, the bike lane widening between 13th and 32nd Street is currently in progress. We're here to present the new proposed bus lane as well as additional bike lane widening to the community boards throughout this month. We're hoping to begin implementation of the bus lanes and new bike lane section in the fall of this year. And we will continue monitoring the project for any effects on traffic. And so, yeah, that concludes our presentation, and I can pass it back to Danielle if you have any closing remarks.
No, but we appreciate you guys accommodating us on your busy schedule tonight. We're happy to answer any questions.
Really appreciate it.
Okay.
Excellent presentation. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Tom.
So you have,
Thank you guys so much for the presentation. Really appreciate it. So excited about this. We've been waiting for it since February of 2025 when we first heard about it from you guys. I love that we're getting rid of all the mixing zones. I would love for, this will mean we only have mixing zones on a small part of 7th Avenue and 10th Avenue in our district. So we're hopeful that we'll get rid of every mixing zone in CB4 within the next couple of years. I just wanted to advocate for green wave signal timing. You're referencing 3rd Avenue as a reference for this, and 3rd Avenue is such a beautiful, complete street. And you can ride from 59th Street to 125th Street without stopping on a bike. And that's incredible. It's absolutely game changing for people who use bikes for transportation. And what's not only that, it makes the delivery cyclists go 15 miles an hour instead of 20 or 30 miles an hour because they want to hit every green light. And it also serves to calm traffic. Green wave is just such a win-win-win, and I'm so thrilled that we're getting it on 8th Avenue. Unfortunately, it stops at 23rd Street. Hope we can get it through Midtown at some point. But I would strongly encourage you guys to consider green wave. Is that something that's been a part of the discussion?
We've generally been working to build our capacity to do that work. I think you guys know we plan to expand to a couple more locations this year. But it's certainly a tool we're interested in. Feel free to put that in your resolution. And we can, prioritize this corridor in the future, but definitely good to hear that folks are excited about green wave.
Thank you, Danielle. And for the buses, I love the offset bus lane, and I love the painted red bus stop. It's great. I'm curious. I worry we'll see double parking. Does MTA plan to do camera enforcement like they've been rolling out on some other dedicated bus lines, so it can be automated enforcement?
So right now, we have the M7 that has ACE, and the M7 runs on 6th Avenue from 14th Street to 59th Street. So that segment would be covered already.
Great. It's great to hear. And then one final thing about physical protections. I'd love to see all of the bike corrals and granite blocks and planters that are going to be in the pedestrian islands. Is there any chance that we could get flex posts between the new widened bike lane and the parking lane? Because on corridors that have that, 8th Avenue has that in the 40s. And it really helps with driver parking behavior where drivers aren't inching over and parking, in that buffer zone. It kind of helps delineate exactly where they should be parking.
That isn't currently in the plan, but it's something that we can evaluate and take a look at in the future.
Thank you, Preston. And one small quick question. On the turning lanes like 14th Street, will there be quick curb where there is no parking to separate the cars in the bike lane?
Yes.
Great, thank you.
No.
Anybody else? Yes. And
I guess I was surprised by some of the statistics around like 2 lanes being able to accommodate the volume that exists, given the other data that shows that the mile per hour for the buses is so slow. And I understand that's going to be mitigated by the bus lane, but given like the endemic of or epidemic of double parking. If there's not real enforcement, then you're gonna have basically one lane of traffic on Sixth Avenue. And I think that is gonna be a real issue, and is gonna cause problems, or just mobility, given like Eighth Avenue and Sixth Avenue now are very limited in terms of volumes and lanes.
So what are you doing about the enforcement?
Yeah, so as Jamie mentioned, there's it's currently ACE automated enforcement right now. We can certainly coordinate with PD to enhance enforcement from PD. I can double check to see if there are stationary cameras along the corridor as well. That just so there would be enforcement coming from 3 different angles.
And also, I think we would need, signage reminding drivers that there are cameras and enforcement will be, we're gonna have to add signage to show them what the penalty will be.
I mean, there's been a lot of great studies when they do ACE very quickly, people stop doing it.
Next.
First, I just want to say, what you guys did on 9th Avenue between 34th and 50th Street is your magnum opus. That is like, seriously beautiful. You guys have completely transformed the street. It feels like I'm in Europe, it feels like a different city. I mean, you guys have transformed that public space. That double wide bikeway is amazing to bike down. The planted islands that HYHK is maintaining is fabulous. The sidewalk, I mean, everything you guys did there is so good. It makes me so excited to see what you guys are going to do on future avenues. You're taking all this stuff you've learned over the past so many decades, and you're combining it into this great product. And that between 34th and 50th really shows it. And you guys should get all the awards for that. But the only thing I would suggest, and if you do this at 6th Avenue too, that'd be great. What Charlie was saying, what other people were saying, in those painted pedestrian zones, maybe just some more iconography to show it's a pedestrian area, and not just the iconography at the beginning of the street, at the end of the street, maybe mid-block as well. You just see so many cars going in there. I want them to feel so guilty they're parking on top of a pedestrian. Like, just some more language that they are in a pedestrian zone.
Okay. And then.
Just to follow up on the enforcement thing, I think for 23rd Street, you definitely need to have personnel on site, traffic managers, traffic agents, changing the signals and putting cameras on there. Cars are still gonna run red lights, gonna run yellow lights. The turn from 6th onto 23rd Street, going east, is a mess, practically all day long. So having a traffic manager, a traffic agent, to at least hold the traffic back so pedestrians can cross the street instead of having to maneuver in between cars and buses and everybody else that's trying to run the light. And especially if you're gonna have more cars or the same number of cars on 2 lanes, by the time they get to the corner, they're gonna wanna make that turn. So I think having somebody on site is very important for pedestrians. Thank you.
Yeah, we've typically worked with PD post-implementation, and I think having specific intersections like that to direct them to is a good tip. And we'll be monitoring as well to see if there are signal adjustments or other sorts of tweaks we can make. And then just regarding 9th Avenue, we couldn't have done that without CB4. So you guys deserve as much credit as you're giving us.
No, Danielle, seriously, it looks amazing. I mean, it's spectacular. Oh, no.
So, one point about the double parking is that you are talking about 1 hour to 3 hours for deliveries. I think you should absolutely shoot for 30 minutes across the board. And that takes care of the double parking. But we cannot have people sitting there for 1 hour or 3 hours. It's not a parking lane, it's a loading delivery lane. And we need to have really, so we're going to ask you to change that if you could.
Yeah, and we can talk with our parking unit about sort of what might be possible and what sort of variation along the corridor we can implement, and maybe they're feeling experimental here. But yeah, whatever you suggest, we're all happy to ask them to look into it.
Right now, is it all 3 hour metered commercial parking?
Probably.
Monday through Friday?
Probably.
And they're proposing changing some to 1 hour.
1 hour, but not everywhere.
If you need 1
And
hour.
then in the evening, that's the same thing. So if I hear properly, I heard some comments about, you know, the green wave, obviously, I'm sorry.
Sorry, we have members of the public who want to speak on that. Everyone on the committee could. Any members of the public who want to speak, now is your chance. Raise your hand. We'll move you over. Carrie, you're already in, so we'll start with you. Okay. Carrie?
Hi, thank you. I didn't hear that. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much. Nice to see you all. Happy summer. Due respect to the DOT's plans and presentations they've prepared. I've got several things. I'll try to get through them really quickly. As a cyclist in this city who has been hit by e-bikes twice and hospitalized, I am constantly questioning and also furious at who has a bachelor's in reckless design in the city. Because as I rode today through a bike lane from Midtown, Hell's Kitchen down to Union Square, I was the only person in the bike lane that was not an e-vehicle. These bike lanes are being designed and widened for e-mobility, e-delivery, and for city bike. They are not for regular cyclists. I am constantly sandwiched between two e-bikes, whether it's a city bike with noise canceling headphones, so you can't communicate with them if you're ringing a bell or blowing a whistle, and an e-delivery bike who's zooming all over on either side of you. I am tired of this. I'm gonna turn my camera on. Hi, sorry, I didn't realize I didn't have that on. I'm really, really tired. I don't understand why this can't be more, there can't be more consideration for people riding a bike in this city. It's all for e-mobility. The decreasing of the traffic lanes, we all know is to get traffic cars, regular cars out of the city. I want an answer from Ms. Chattergoon. Why are you not putting up signs regarding, yes, 9th Avenue, we've got some signs. Guess what I'm seeing every day, guys, as I'm walking my dog or walking across to Duane Reade? I'm seeing the e-bikes, city bike and e-delivery bikes in the extended sidewalks, racing through the extended sidewalks. They are not riding in the bike lane. They're in those super sidewalks. As I knew what happened. It's the same thing with 8th Avenue every day. There's no signage that says, do not ride in here. This is for people to walk. There's no concern or care about this. And this echo chamber here, due respect to CB4, because you are my community board and we have worked together on some things, but this echo chamber of, oh, 8th Avenue is so great. It's not so great. It's where I live. I'm almost hit every day by an e-bike. It's not so great. I don't want to hear about the green wave either. They're not going to go only 15 miles an hour. They race through those lights constantly, never stopping. Good luck with 6th Avenue. I hope it's a better design, but right now, 8th Avenue stinks. 9th Avenue is still very dangerous because we have people coming in. I can't even walk in the super sidewalk, guys. Where's the signs that say, Ms. Chattergoon, please, pass on the left. Ring your bell when you pass. The fact that I rode around this city today, 10 miles through different bike lanes, through Times Square was hellacious. E-bikes trying to pass me on either side of that raised path. I was petrified. I have ridden in Barcelona through Los Rambles. It was less dangerous. Now, I'm not joking about this anymore, guys. We need signs and we need people to be reasonable. This city is turned into a complete redesign for e-delivery, for Uber and Lyft, Uber Eats and DoorDash. And as a regular cyclist and a taxpayer and someone who's lived here for 30 years, I'm sick of it. Please consider better safety measures. You're going to widen the lanes. Don't even tell me it's a pilot program. It's not. We all know it's going to go through. Anything that's a pilot, the DOT lies about. It's not a pilot. You've ignored our concerns, my concerns, for 5 years. Please, you need to teach people how to ride. Maybe we start DOT with talking to Mandami. I'll produce the film for you. Let's get Mandami out on the road, since he likes being in so much on film, to teach people how to cycle safely, because everything else you're doing is not working. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Carrie.
Okay, next, Chris.
Chris or Ron? I don't know.
Yes, I just wanted to speak up. I really appreciate this design. I was on 8th Avenue today, and to be quite honest, I didn't see any e-bikes riding on it. So I don't know what, and actually I almost never do. Occasionally I do, but not, it hasn't been a problem from what I can see. But on 9th Avenue, they do need to add the the street treatments, like the plants and all that. But with 6th Avenue, I'm glad they're adding the bus lane because the bus is slow on there. And I'm glad that they are dealing with the bike lane going on 6th Avenue from 35th, I live on 35th, to all the way up to 59th Street is great because it needs to be wider because there are an insane amount of people riding bikes on there early in the morning, like at 7 in the morning when I leave the house. I always go get coffee in Chelsea, at Bean and Bean on 26th Street and 8th Avenue every morning at 7:30. So in any case, I support the 6th Avenue changes. And yes, get rid of mixing zones. Also, quick question, 31st to 35th, that little area there is kind of a mess. So I don't know if there's any appetite to clean up that interaction there, you know, it would certainly be welcome, I'm sure, from the pedestrians and the cyclists. So that's all I have, but I support this. Go, go, go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay.
No, Ron?
There's also two other people.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm again with the E-Vehicle Safety Alliance. I just have three questions. Two of them are for Mr. Johnson. Is he still there?
Yes.
Oh, hi. Can you talk a little bit about what signage you plan for the bike lane itself, for as painted on the bike lane and standing signs that can inform the bike riders and educate them somewhat as to what they are expected, what is expected of them? That's what I'm after, like wrong way, one way, etc., that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think we may be installing wrong way signs for if people are trying to go southbound, but we'll be putting the bike symbols on the pavement. But we try to strike a balance when it comes to signage of not overly cluttering the streets, but providing the essential safety information.
Well, we could use some more signs because obviously I think a lot of people who are tourists renting city bikes, for example, don't know what these rules are. And they think they're allowed to ride on sidewalks and go the wrong. They see other people doing it and they do it too. Very dangerous. Anyway, I said it. The bike corrals that you are incorporating into this design that I guess Dustin mentioned, when we discussed when Colleen and her colleagues made a presentation about the 9th Avenue redesign, they incorporated new bike corrals and with the intention of removing existing bike corrals from the sidewalks, which would be a great thing since these lithium-ion batteries are dangerous, and I'd like to see them off the sidewalks somehow. Is that part of your plan here as well?
The bike corrals are actually a slightly different unit, and I'm not sure if they are intending to remove them.
I
I
can
don't
maybe
know.
speak to that. I think
Yeah, okay.
typically when we are putting in corrals, that's our way of consolidating the parking. So typically if there are, those bike hoops on the adjacent sidewalk, we would remove them.
Dan Wagner said that's what the plan was for 9th Avenue. And I'm just asking that if it could be the same plan, that would be great.
Yeah, we strive to do that. And I think on 9th Avenue, we're still, going through implementation and the corrals will be installed as we get through all the markings and things like that. But yeah, that's typically our process if we're installing a corral next to where there are existing bike hoops.
And I had one thing for both you, Danielle, and Dustin. The statistics you quote about pedestrian injuries are not accurate because pedestrian versus e-bike injuries are very underreported, as you probably know. The way you find the true statistics is you talk to emergency room doctors in the city. A study was done by NYU Langone that tells the story clearly, and I'll be happy to give you a copy if you need one if you haven't seen it. But we keep hearing these statistics and they're not accurate, and DOT needs to at least put an asterisk beside it because they are underreported. So thanks very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Ron.
Thank you, Ron.
We got three more attendees. Can we
And I'm going to try to limit the time to about 1 minute because we have such a big agenda. We really need to move up.
We're only about halfway there, so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So who's next? Alex?
Yeah. We'll move all three over. Janine, thanks.
Yep. Hi, guys.
Alex, go
I'll be
ahead.
real quick. I know you're busy. I just wanted to show support for this plan because widening bike lanes is a huge safety issue for a lot of us. My wife and most of my friends bike every day, myself included, and my friends do it with little kids. And the thing that keeps a lot of people from doing it more often, obviously, is perceived safety. So widening the lane and giving us more space is hugely important in shifting to the city of the future that we all want to get to. And that includes obviously bus lanes. Because, I think it's a huge injustice to watch 100 New Yorkers sit on a bus stuck behind two people from Long Island in their SUVs. So this is a fantastic plan, especially we got a lot of people coming into the district, from the south, passing through, 14th Street up, all the way up to into Midtown. So this is fantastic. Looking forward to it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Well, who's next? And actually, you guys mind taking down the slide so that we can see everybody? Thanks for the presentation. Thank you.
Sorry, Rich
I'm sorry, I don't know.
Who is next, Jenny?
Rich Easley.
Rich, go ahead.
Hi,
Hi, Rich, go ahead.
can you hear me?
Yep.
Everybody has said exactly what I wanted to say. I just want to emphasize the signage, specifically on 9th Avenue, and it could apply to 6th Avenue too. There is simply no instruction for tourists or what I saw this weekend was chaos on 9th Avenue. And it seems to be that these designs injure or affect most elderly and disabled people. And I just hope you think about that when you're redoing these streets. That's all. Everybody else has said everything I wanted to say.
Thank
you so much, Rich.
Rich.
Missy?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, hi. So I just wanted to jump in. It's a very interesting meeting. I did want to back up Carrie's comments on the danger of the bike lanes because I've for many years, decades, I had been riding the bike on the West Side highway bike lane, and I recently did it, and I can't ride the bike anymore because it was so scary. Everyone was motorized. There's really only maybe 2% not motorized along there, even though there are signs down in Chelsea saying, no motorized vehicles, and everybody's motorized and they're all going 40 miles an hour and very few have helmets. It is scary. And if you sit on, I do the garden at 20th and 9th, the bicycle lane garden, and I have a bench there. If you sit on that bench and watch people going down, it is fast. It is fast and furious. And I don't know how you go back from that to support people who are not motorized. I mean, I wonder, I was just talking we were sitting on the bench watching this craziness.
You have exceeded the 1 minute.
Okay, just one thing. Maybe have a dedicated lane for motorized bikes and other vehicles, other, two-wheeled vehicles, so that it might be safer to have the motorized for one lane and non-motorized for another lane if you're going to expand.
We got it.
Yep.
Thank you for
Thank
the.
you, Missy. Thank you.
That's it.
That's
David
it.
Warren. David Warren.
What's that?
David Warren is on.
David, did you have a comment?
Yes, hi, everyone.
thank you, the committee members, for your service, and thank you, Dot, for doing this. This is a great plan. I really love it. My only concern is the maintenance of this. For example, if you're riding from like 7th Avenue and 23rd Street to, let's say, down to Bleecker, the bike lane is not maintained. There's holes, there's potholes, there's construction left over from construction, not even from current constructions. Things are sunken in by the sewers in the bike lane. The same thing along 8th Avenue as you get into the 20s. It's just like a construction war zone. What's going to be left there? So this is great that you're doing this, and I really support it. But what is the plan for maintaining our current bike lanes that are in disrepair and the new ones that come up? And once again, thank you again for your work.
David, I think that's a very good question, and I think this is maybe something we could schedule for a different meeting where we ask the DOT to come and explain how, the maintenance of the whole thing works. Because we have had a lot of issues, punch list, etc. And I think we need to start understanding better. And also, as we have a super sidewalk, I want to know who is responsible for sanitation, who is responsible for everything. So I think that would be a good topic altogether to put on the agenda. Okay. So, I think we heard about Green Wave, camera enforcement, 30 minutes parking, pedestrian zone signage.
Yeah, I think the signage points are really well taken, especially also I was thinking the number of times, even the bikers themselves, there is no faster moving lane and slower, and it's time we start trying to get that, and yes, if you're on the left side, you go faster.
And we raise the maintenance, but I think we need to raise the maintenance in a bigger way. So these are the
I would just say physical separation, but where possible.
yes.
I mean, vertical separation.
Right. Okay, so these are the points that I would suggest go in the letter. Do we have a motion?
A second.
Excellent.
Right.
All those in favor?
Okay.
Anyone opposed? No.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone from DOT.
Colleen and Danielle and everyone, thank you so much. We are 100% with you.
No, you're welcome, Christine. Thanks, board.
Thank you, CB4.
Have a great
Thanks,
night,
everyone.
guys.
Have a good night.
Okay. Next small item, gateway development.
Hey, my seafaring friend, you're here. Hi guys.
Should we?
Come on up, if you don't mind, whoever wants to come in. We spent Friday on a boat together, looking at the. It was so much fun.
Where you got ice cream with your niece over the weekend.
Oh, yeah, it was. And how was your dance?
All right, so quick.
I can be as quick as.
Yes.
Okay. So my name is Rebecca Zach. I'm the Senior Director of Government and Community Affairs here at the Gateway Development Commission. I'm gonna do just like a couple opening slides, what we have here. Who we have here, I'm sorry, Hefty Dave. Hefty Dave is gonna be going through the bulk of the presentation, but mainly what we're coming to ask you here to talk to you about is extended construction hours on what we call block 675 that borders, this is obviously 9A, this is 30th, and this is 29th Street. Okay, next slide. And I can't help but say that in case anyone hasn't heard it, and I would not be doing my job if I didn't say it, this is the most critical infrastructure project in the country. We survived. We went through a construction pause because our funding ran out in February. All of our contractors, we laid off about 1,000 workers who have since come back to work. But the money is flowing again from DC, and we're hoping that keeps going. But our contractors lost time, and everyone's trying to gain stuff back. I know this community board has endured years of construction. We are trying to be very thoughtful in our communication, consistently telling people what's going on, even if something changes by a week. We're trying to push out as much as we can. This community board has been wonderful to us. We know we'll have challenging times in the future, but let's have a fun time tonight. We're going to be talking about project modifications, noise analysis, community commitments, and then we'll have the floor open for Q&A. Next slide. Project modifications. Next slide. You go. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so as Rebecca mentioned, we're here to ask about extended hours at block 675. What we're doing right now at block 675 is working 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Sunday. And what we're asking for is doing 24 hours, meaning extending our overnight shift into Saturday mornings. So starting 11 p.m. until 7 a.m. Monday to Saturday morning at 7 a.m. The overall ask is because we want to increase the efficiency of our construction process and also supporting the maintenance of our schedule. So we don't want to be there longer than we intended to be, and that's why we're just wanting to make sure that we're maintaining the schedule of our construction project here. Next slide, please. As this community board has already, we've presented previously that we're going to be doing 24-hour work when we're doing underground construction. So this is in support of the underground construction. The underground construction is set to begin in spring of 2027. What we're trying to do over here is excavate a shaft, which is approximately 120 feet in diameter and about 100 feet deep. So all these teeny tiny human beings that you see, just like helps you understand the ends, the largeness of this large thing, you know, how it's going to be. So this is basically to help us enable the future tunneling work. A little bit more about the shaft excavation. Our shaft is going to look something very similar to this. We're going to have a plywood rim around the shaft, which will be installed before the shaft excavation begins. This wall is going to be approximately 4 to 6 feet, and all of our construction equipment is going to be inside of this rim just to help our case. You know, in the middle of the night, nobody wants to be disturbed. So all of our heavy duty construction equipment is going to be inside of this shaft rim. This shaft is also approximately 400 feet away from the closest residential building. I know we don't have a graphic view on this slide, but the previous slide would help you understand. The previous slide would help you understand the distance between the closest residential building and where our excavated shaft is going to be. Next slide. So talking a little bit more about what the excavation, I have a very simple graphic to help you understand what the overnight work activities are going to look like. We're going to excavate. So we're going to remove any of the fill materials and we're going to load up our trucks, and those trucks are going to haul everything off site. So the trucks are going to be entering on 29th Street. They will come to where the shaft area is going to be. They will be loaded up, they will go out the 30th Street, and that's our entire operation during the overnight hours. Most of this is going to be loose soil. We're not expected to reach bedrock by any means, but in case the constructor or contractor encounters any large, boulders or rocks or anything of that sort, so we're not going to be breaking it in the middle of the night, where obviously we want to be mindful of the community that surrounds it. So a lot of the breaking, in case that does happen, is going to happen during overnight hours, during daytime hours, not during overnight hours. A few community considerations as we were thinking through this is obviously no drilling, no blasting. None of that is going to be happening during overnight hours. We have this noise barrier that's going to be installed at the shaft rim. A lot of our noisier activities are going to be scheduled during daytime hours to minimize any community impacts. As I mentioned, the large excavated materials are not going to be removed during overnight hours. They will be stored on site. They will be broken down and loaded up onto the trucks and then taken out during daytime hours. We will have continuous monitoring, meaning all of our sensitive receptors, the residential buildings in the area, there will be continuous monitoring over there and also on site. This is by the contractor. GDC is also going to be doing their independent continuous monitoring just to make sure that the contractor, whatever data they're collecting, it all makes sense. There's no funny business happening over there. And trucks are the most important part of this, and trucks are the ones that are going to be continuously on the ground because, as shaft excavation goes down deeper, the noise that you would be experiencing from the shaft excavation is only going to decrease. The deeper it goes, the lesser the noise. The trucks, unfortunately, stay on the ground. So we are trying to be as mindful about the trucks as much as possible. So all of our trucks are already, the trucks that we use on site are retrofitted with white noise backup alarms. What that means is trucks usually have a beep, beep, beep kind of noise, versus our trucks are going to be like shh, 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 you know, like as much as possible. We're trying to make everyone's life easier over here. And again, these trucks are also going to have stringent idling times. The trucks are not allowed to idle more than 3 minutes if necessary for the truck to idle on our site. Next slide, please. So noise analysis is basically what we've done is predictive noise modeling to help us understand what this activity during overnight hours is going to experience or feel like for the residents nearby. Next slide, please. So we've done both lateral and vertical. So lateral helps us understand what the noise is going to look like once it's dissipating from its origin point. So what we see over here is our excavated shaft. Our trucks, as I mentioned, are going to come in from 29th Street. They will be lined up over here, and then they will go out on 30th Street. We have 4 residential units that we've taken into consideration over here for our noise modeling purposes. A and B are the closest. The A is 606 West 30th Street, and site B is 311 11th Avenue. Now, these both, again, this is predictive. This is also worst case, because as I mentioned, the shaft, as you dig deeper, it's only going to get better. The noise ranges are anticipated noise ranges from 65 to 75 decibels at the closest residential buildings. And then, you know, as we go further away from the origin point of the noise, it only gets better. We have stringent nighttime noise thresholds. So the contractor is going to be required to abide by this particular number in terms of the noise threshold that we have for nighttime activities. Next slide, please. So this helps us understand how noise will travel vertically, because we have high-rise buildings in our neighborhood over here. So this is where the origin point of the shaft is going to be. So this is at the center of the rim of the shaft and where the trucks are going to be. And this helps us understand that as you go above, like vertically, the distance from the shaft source, basically the levels only lower, and also it helps you understand the building facade, which like basically acts as a shield. So the further you go, this is almost like a noise wall, and the further you go away from this, the lesser the noise is going to be. I do want to point out at 606 West, a few floors which are adjacent to our construction staging area. The first few floors of this building are basically a parking garage. So, you know, a couple floors where we anticipate higher level of noise is a parking garage, and above that, then we have residential buildings. And this is predictive. This is worst case. We're anticipating the noise to be lower than what we see over here, and over a period of time, it's only going to get better. Next slide, please. I'm going to pass it on to Laura.
Hi, so I'm Laura Colacurcio, for those I haven't met before. I'm the Deputy Director for Government and Community Affairs at GDC. And then you can go to the next slide, please. So we take very seriously the ask that we have before you today. And while we can do all of the predictive modeling we want, we know that lived experience is very different. So what we'd like to commit to you today is to make sure that we're sharing that monitoring with you. You know, we talked about the contractor doing noise monitoring. We're doing noise monitoring. We want to hear from you what's going on the ground. We want to make sure we're being transparent with what we're seeing if we are able to proceed as we asked in July with the 24/5 work. So we make this commitment to you because we do want to understand in real time what's happening out there. And I can speak for my colleagues that are here today. We're in a room every week with this contractor. We would love to be your voice there as to what you're hearing so that we can hold them accountable for the mitigation that they've committed to us. So we want to make sure that we can deliver that message in the room with them. There are a lot of ways to get in touch with us. We're always happy to come here. Janine has all of our contact information, but we do have a hotline we wish you would share with your fellow residents in the area. We have a construction email address. We also have a community engagement center in Chelsea. It's on 9th Avenue between 25th and 26th. If you haven't visited, you might see Emma there one day. But it's a really great interactive space to kind of understand the totality of the project, because we come to you with small bites of the apple, but this whole thing is 10 construction packages over several years. We're focused on the work taking place in the immediate term, but we'd love to share with you kind of the vision for what that's going to look like for the west side going forward. But really, we just want to hear your feedback once we get this work started. That is a commitment that we have to you, and I know Christine and Jesse will be making sure that they're calling us if they're hearing from you.
Christine can text me. And so can Jesse. You can get in touch with me wherever you need to.
Okay,
And I
well,
think that's it, right, Emma?
thank you so much. Any question? Yes.
That was an incredible presentation. It's so thorough, it's so well done, it's so much information in there. For the decibel levels, when you're like glazing on a window or like the window, how much does that reduce the decibels by like in those residences?
So Manhattan high-rise buildings, especially if it's a newer building, they have an SEC of about 30 to 35. If it's a double pane, good quality window, which they're required to be, it's a high decibel.
What does it mean when you say SCC?
Meaning, if you're experiencing 75 decibels outside, inside your
It
home.
would
if
reduce by.
Correct. If
Okay.
your home has a good quality window,
Right.
and if it's shut, then you're gonna be good. You're gonna be experiencing about like 45, which is.
newer buildings, right?
What's your
Yeah.
My question is just that, where does the 71 threshold come from? Where is that?
We did baselining, so basically, before the construction started, we took continuous noise measurements to help us understand what the noise in the area actually feels like.
Uh-huh.
And then for nighttime hours, DB, New York City DB lets us have a +3 to that particular baseline.
Okay.
So the baseline came out to 68 during nighttime hours, and we added the +3, that brings us to 71.
Okay, that's very good. That's great.
Yes.
Could you go back to slide number 4? And I had a question on 29th Street. Are you changing the flow of traffic?
No,
So,
exactly.
but half that street is closed because you have there's the EMS station that is on what is called lot 11 on block 675. We worked out, so we took construction staging that we were planned for that lot and put it on 29th Street. So because there's a parking garage on 29th Street and residents can access the parking garage and then can get on back to 11th Avenue, but you can't go to 12th Avenue unless you are an emergency vehicle or cop, I guess, and cyclists and sanitation. So we worked with FDNY, PD, sanitation, DOT, and I think state DOT too, to make sure that, so the contractor is construction staging on one part of 29th Street, and then there's none on.
That red bump out, you can
Yes.
kind of see
Yeah.
on that graphic into 29th, that's staging area.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
So it is closed for half of the street.
Right, because I actually go over there to run in the morning,
Yeah.
every other morning, and I always see traffic coming out, but it's the construction and it's.
Do we have construction?
It shows
Yes.
people that are
Yes.
supposed to come out that way.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, guys, if we don't have any other questions.
And I'll just say, I worked at DOT for New York, I worked at New York City DOT for 12 years. Danielle Zuckerman used to be on my team. I couldn't think of a better person that you guys would have for a borough commissioner. And I had to put that plug in. I really need, like, I give them feedback. And I just couldn't. I can't do that, but I just.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I don't know whether we need you need a resolution from us?
No.
We just, listen,
It's an FYI,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
But also, we'll be back to you in a week, as we committed to. We wanted to have a follow-up meeting, just with you guys, okay? All right. Thank you so much.
We appreciate you being on
Thank
the
you.
agenda too.
Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you.
Very good presentation.
Excellent.
Okay.
Have a great night.
All right.
So I mean, I guess it does big, but like, we wouldn't have the power to stop 24-hour, 24/7 construction anyway. Like, yeah. Thanks, guys.
You guys are the best.
It was
Thanks
really
for hanging around. All right.
All right, so coming back to local stuff, and it seems that it's all about taxi and truck and issues. So the first one is taxi issues on 9th Avenue between 19 and 20 is Mac.
Matt was here. Let me go. I'm here. No, you're in.
Oh, Mac is here.
You're literally here.
Okay. So Mac, can you stand up and present the issue that you presented to us, like to everyone?
For sure. We talked about the little bit about it last week, so I don't want to get too much time. I live on 9th Avenue on the east side of the street. The road was recently restriped, repaved. There are 3 zones on my side of the street. There's a bike or a buffer zone that's to be meant for a bike corral that DOT tells us is coming. There's a very big sort of loading zone striped off, marked as a loading zone to protect the fire hydrant block. And then there are 3 spaces at the end of the block that are marked for, I believe, commercial parking. That's metered. And then the other side of the street, we have a third of the block is a bus stop. And then there's metered parking in the rest of the street. Just as the street was redesigned, a deli, very popular with taxi and delivery drivers, moved in across the street. And now the demands on the street for parking greatly exceed what is going on in reality. And what's going on in reality is particularly between 7 and 10, 8 p.m. It is Mad Max. It is double park taxis. It is every possible open space, including the buffer zone that's protected by lane delineators, is now a 4-spot taxi parking lot. It's incredibly dangerous. It's taxis crossing lanes to get to open parking spaces, waiting, double parking, triple parking, in some instances bringing 9th Avenue down to 1 lane. It's bringing, completely blocking the bus stop so that buses going down 9th Avenue cannot stop. They're stopping in traffic. I've watched from my own office window into my apartment, people with disabilities trying to get off of the bus onto the street. I've watched an ambulance try to stop in the loading zone and can't because it's, it's blocked by taxis that are parked there for 20, 30 minutes an hour.
So we came, Jesse and I went to visit and kind of tried to figure what's going on and what we could do. And Colleen, I have a question. Colleen, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Colleen, can you explain?
We just to give you some background here.
Yes.
The taxi relief stand was originally located on 9th Avenue between 20th and 19th Street. It was on the east side of the street. And it was 4 spaces, and the relief was for an hour, right? And then we relocated it to West 20th Street between 10th and 9th Avenue on the north side, closer to 9th Avenue. And it's a total of 6 spaces now, 2 which were already there. There were 2 spaces already there. So now what you have is 6 spaces at the current location, which is on West 20th Street on the north side, closer to 9th Avenue. And we did reach out to the business that where the taxi drivers are utilizing. I did reach out to the businesses, and I mentioned to them that, the stand was relocated because at the previous location, there is a plan to install a bike corral there. That's what the plan is.
Yeah, so what we came up with as maybe multiple steps. One is to notify the taxi limousine commission that there is a problem there and that a lot of people are, just not behaving properly. And then the second thing is notify the MTA that people are parking in the MTA stop, right? And then request from DOT that the parking regulation, which is there, be changed to 30 minutes, 30 minutes loading, unloading, up to 10 or 11 at night, right? So that it covers the night, evening problem. And these are the 3 things we identified as possible solution, not solution, but at least trying to attack the problem.
I mean, the other issue is the signage as it currently reads is just for the entire block.
Oh, right.
Right, so
Right, we said that.
Which does not reflect the reality of the block at all. So that absolutely has to change because the enforcement officers are looking for a reason not to get taken.
Right, so we said no standing in front of the fire hydrant, right?
And then we said
Then
the
no-
arrow's gonna go one
the arrow
way.
Go one way, so that's what, it's not easy if all the taxis from the city are all coming to get food at this place.
Right.
It's not manageable.
Yeah, just so you know, Borough Commissioner Daniel Zuckerman also reached out to TLC to let them know. TLC has their own enforcement
Yes.
agent, and they can enforce this. This, they really can.
Well, that's why we want to send a letter to TLC,
Right.
to say this is no good. You have to do something about that, right?
My neighbors and I have also have started reporting to TLC
Right.
when we see things. The issue is particularly that NYPD and park enforcement don't, for a variety of reasons, don't care. TLC, the bulk of the traffic, it's on and off all day, and then between 7 and 10 is really, really when
Yeah.
it's terrible. So it may just be a matter of enforcement.
At that time.
At that time,
Right.
1 or 2 nights a week.
What about the lunchtime? Not?
Lunchtime there is more traffic. It is not, the problem between 7 and 10 is the double parking, is the parking
Right.
responsible.
So
So
it's
it
more.
becomes an actual
Right.
hazard, it's not just an annoyance.
Okay. So that's what we, Jesse and I would propose to do in order to help, the community. And that's,
Because the issue is really, it's on both sides of the street, right? It's on this side of the street, it's on the other side of the street, the side that has the bus stop, and they're
Right.
literally all parked in the bus stop at all times.
Right.
So the MTA absolutely needs to be enforcing that. The taxi stand around the corner is getting full use, which was kind of nice to see at least, like all 6 spots when we
Right.
saw it were taken. So at least some of the drivers are getting the message, but there's even more than that coming all the time. I mean, like, it's all the time.
The taxi stand is a fraction.
It's a right. So like, even though all those spots were taken, we saw as we were standing there over the course of a half hour, dozens of cars come through. So, it is really, it is unfortunately just a matter of enforcement, but at least, we understand that the people doing the parking enforcement look at those signs and go, oh, 3 hours, like, they can, we're hoping that we limit where exactly if we make the arrow go in one direction,
Right.
first, it'll be very clear, there's no parking, commercial parking
On the
allowed
other
on the
side.
other side.
Right.
And limit to 30 minutes, see if that helps, and so that when, they're saying, please enforce this, it's something that, okay, and we were gonna end the bike route, which Colleen mentioned, yeah.
right. I think it's in the pipeline, although,
Well,
I know you wrote to NYPD, right? It was not
Yeah, they said
very helpful.
that was not.
But if you want some barricade, I shouldn't say that, there is a lot in our neighborhood.
What did you say? Just say,
I mean, it's like Madison Square Garden, there are barricades everywhere. Right.
Well, Danielle, I did email Danielle Bergman, who mentioned the granite boulders that because,
Yes.
to protect similar spaces are coming, but they are backward.
Okay.
I don't have a sense of like what that backward looks like, if it's weeks, months,
No.
or years. But she did suggest planters that reached out to the Chelsea Garden Club, which takes care of the tree.
Right.
pit.
And this was, I missed the Adams.
Yeah, I'll find this.
Right.
To possibly put planters there to protect.
But you have
because
to buy
they-
the planters, which are kind of expensive.
I think they provide, I think
Yeah, I
they,
think DOT buys.
yeah,
Yeah.
DOT provides the planters, you have to buy everything that goes inside.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay,
That was the implication was if we don't wanna wait for granite.
okay.
They can
Okay.
get planters.
So you want us to add that in the letter? We can put that in the letter too.
Sure.
That the DOT should provide you with planters.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
We have 2 folks, well, actually, sorry, anyone else questions, comments on the committee before we go to the public?
You mentioned the buses being a problem.
The buses,
Not
the
the
bus
buses,
is not a problem,
buses, right, buses can't get through, and there's no camera on the front of the bus?
I mean.
No, because
but the
it's
bus
not
just
the
goes
marked
on.
bus lane.
Yeah, it's just a bus stop with a sign, but there's like.
Because New York State can make all this money by putting a
I
camera
know.
on the
Yeah,
bus.
there's so much money to be made in fines,
Yeah.
just in enforcement.
Yeah.
Okay, so do
And
we
then we have
want to?
Inga and Missy. Hi, Inga. Go ahead.
Hi, guys. Sorry. I don't know if you know that this little deli was up the street on the opposite side of the street. So it still has the same amount of taxis parking that always parked there for many years. It was just a couple blocks up across the street. So the amount of taxis visiting this small business has not increased. It's just that there's a different parking situation. I walk by every day as well, and they do use the side street. It's always filled, but there are too many, obviously. So we need to have more parking for the taxis.
No.
You're going to hurt the small business that caters mainly to the taxis. That's been in our neighborhood for a very long time, many, many years. And the taxi drivers need a place to stop and eat. So by restricting the parking, we're hurting the taxi driver industry, the taxi drivers themselves, and a local small business that has been in Chelsea for many years. So I think we sort of have to figure out what can we do. Perhaps we move this designated spot for a bike corral down or up a block and have the taxis be able to park so that they can quickly get in and out and get their food. They're working 12-hour shifts.
But Inga, I hear you, and I was there when we gave them all the parking spots. So, but also, you know, if the taxi can go and park 2 blocks north and 2 blocks south, right? So nothing prevent them from going a little further in order to park.
Yeah, the
So
only thing is they're every minute counts for them. You know, they make their money by the minute. So half the time they're quickly grabbing their food, eating it, and if someone walks up to them while they're eating and needs a cab, they'll let you get in and drive. They need the money. So the closer they can park to their pickup spot, the better. And where the store was before, they were able to park right there. They were lined up all the time. So I think we might want to think about trying to help the taxi industry. Maybe move the bike corral 1 block north or south. I mean, it would help an entire industry that's actually been in Chelsea, and the small business. They've been in Chelsea forever. They're good business.
But Inga, I hear you, but at the same time, that bike corral is like 1 parking spot. And what we have here is like 12, 15, a lot of taxis. So we need to figure the balance between the two. I mean,
And the
it's
balance,
very,
you know,
very
it
difficult.
really is creating a dangerous situation, and ultimately, as we support small businesses, we certainly support taxis, but you know, as Christine pointed out when we were there, this business is effectively operating as a drive-through. And you know,
It always has though, but I mean, it has for many, many years. They just moved to a different, you know, they moved across the street. So is there any way we can have parking on the other side street? So we have 6 on each end. I mean, these guys have been doing this for years. There's got to be a different way to let them park closer so they can run in and run out. I mean, it's
yeah.
Go ahead. Inga, I hear you. The spot that the previous location just up the block was on a much different block. There's a turn lane on the east side. There's virtually no parking. So the taxi parking was dispersed on the side streets, was dispersed on the other side of 9th Avenue. It was not quite so concentrated. And what we have now is a wide open space in front of the deli, a wide open space on the opposite side of the street. And so there are incentives to just park where, and zero enforcement. So there's incentive to actually park in places where people should park, which didn't happen before because there just wasn't space.
But then I think when they used to be parking like
there was,
a few.
Yeah, they would walk in the neighborhood. Exactly. So
a few minutes after getting out of their car.
I assume we would be happy to work with the business and the taxi, like the TLC, if, you know, if the small business says, hey, this isn't working for me, then we can go around the neighborhood and see if there's somewhere else that we can add a taxi, you know, spot for, but for.
What about the other side of 9th Avenue?
The other side of 9th Avenue is the bus stop.
No, I know, but in front of the bus stop.
What do you mean in front of the bus stop?
There's a fire hydrant.
The bus stop is not the whole block.
And
Yeah, it's 5 or 6 spots. I mean, the other issue, and Missy and I have discussed this before, is that there's constant beeping of taxis parking. I think that's one concentrated block. So if the entire block is just given parking for this one location and one business, that's not entirely conducive Yeah. For the
And
neighborhood.
I think
I
we can take it in steps. I mean, we can do the first 3 steps and then have a discussion with the, go visit around with the owner where other location, but I don't understand if they were 1 block north. What's the difference, right? They can still park 1 block north on the avenue. So what is happening here is that everybody wants to be right in front of the store. And that's not the way it is in New York City. You
That's-
go 1 block away.
That's not how it's in most cities when,
Right.
in most cities where people
No,
are having to go.
I don't think it's a hardship terribly. We need to retrain those people. that
Time
are
is
listening.
time is money for them. The same thing is on Third Avenue. Is it Third Avenue or Lexington with Hondi? It's another taxi restaurant. And it's the same. I mean, they've always parked right in front. They run in, run out. If you cannot find better parking closer for them, I guess that's what it is. But I would urge the committee to try to think about designating more taxi spaces where they can park as close as possible.
Thank you, Inga.
Long-time small business and an entire industry that's really getting crushed.
Thank you. Go ahead, Missy.
Hi. So I really have to disagree with Inga. It's a long time small business that's had long time problems in the neighborhood and has had its lease not renewed by 2 different spaces because of the taxi drivers. I mean, when they were at the corner of 20th and 9th, the drivers left bottles of urine in front of the building all the time, and the residents were outraged. And then when they were in the middle between 20th and 21st, the taxis would go all the way into the turn lane and people couldn't turn. It's just a mess with the drivers, and the business is not going to tell them, these are their customers. They're not going to tell them you can't park here. And I tried to have a conversation with them before they opened and said, listen, we know what these problems are. Let's try and address them. And I talked to them directly and they're like, yeah. And then, all the shit hit the fan. And it's too much. This is not a taxi garage. This is a historic district, and it's just mayhem. I mean, just the other day, they were 2 deep in front of the bus stop, double parked all the way down, and then the bus comes up in the middle of the street and lets people off. It's insane. And when they have the opportunity to park in an actual parking space, they still don't. I mean, the bad behavior is rampant. They just park, they pull up in front, throw the hood open, throw the trunk open, leave the car running and have the lights on, and then go in and have dinner. They'll be gone for half an hour. I know that some of them are in a hurry, but a lot of them aren't. They stand around, they take their break at like 5 and around 11, and then they stand around and they're talking under our windows, and then they throw their garbage in the tree pits, or they throw their garbage in our composting with non-compostable garbage. It's way too much of a burden for our block. And I used to love the deli, loved it. And I had no problem with taxi drivers, but I'm just livid for both. It's so badly handled. They just should not have another parking space. And I also disagree. The number of cabs is, I think it's about 3 times more than I've ever seen when it was up the street. It's many, many more cabs. There are hundreds of cabs that come through during the day.
Thank you so much. Thank you both.
Yeah.
These were very valuable angles here. So the summary is asking the TLC to do some enforcement, the MTA to do some enforcement, asking DOT to change the sign, right? And then asking DOT to provide with the planter. And these are the action that we put in the letter, and then, we give it a try.
Can I
And as
just
usual,
say, I
we have
wouldn't
to come
ask for the
back.
planters. Sorry to
What?
interrupt. I wouldn't ask for the planters. I can't take care of them. I can't take care of the planters, so there's no point in having them.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, and then as usual, we come back and we follow up.
We
right?
follow up and we'll check in, and if,
And we'll check
if
in
it
and
turns
we'll-
out we need more parking, which we probably might, we can try and find another spot. One more taxi stand spot in the vicinity, but this block, I mean, it's just, because the problem is if we put it, to go to your point, the problem is if you do put it right there. Then people will just stand there and loiter and have their food and hang out, which does create a noise issue, whereas if you put a taxi stand. Somewhere down the block or whatever, then people are less likely to, it's more dispersed, it's the.
I would put in the letter that you would like. Look at other locations for,
You would put that in the letter?
I would personally put that in the letter.
Can I just say one thing though? We dealt with an issue just last month. And there regarding helping parking for one store.
Yeah.
Right. And there was
Yes.
blowback because how much are we going to do in one store? So I think there's
Yes.
a balancing act and I think we've met that balancing act tonight.
Right.
That's all.
Right. Who is in favor of adding that we're going to look for?
I don't think we're gonna look for it. We could suggest DOT investigate if there's appropriate spot for additional taxi stands.
Yeah.
And maybe you even have to change the signage. You say mostly from 7 to 10, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But that's the question I have, is it
So
taxi stand
maybe
24 hours a day?
the hours on a certain section, so it's 7 to 10.
Maybe like, we may be underestimating like people's willingness to walk one block, or maybe or if you just put a taxi stand on. 10th, or is this on 8th or 9th? No, yeah, so on 10th, like, there's like
No,
relatively.
not on 10, that would be on the side.
Yeah, but like,
Just the other thing is that now on side street, it's competition with the local residents, which are not happy with that. So this is a whole
Bouncing a bit.
balancing
Well,
act.
it may not be-
And again, I mean, we have to be careful about giving 6 parking spots. I don't know anybody in our neighborhood who has so many parking spots for their business. So we've got to be careful about, the next person who says, well, I want 6 parking spots, what are you talking about? It's the first time around, we were very nervous about giving them more parking spots because of that, which was like 5-10 years ago. Okay, all right, so we have a motion?
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, second.
Wait, so are we including the thing about finding another taxi stand spot?
I wouldn't,
I wouldn't.
no.
I would.
Okay,
Seems like the consensus, no.
Why not?
right,
Let them
okay.
look. If they can find it, they can find it. If they can't find it, they can't find it. We should take a look. And maybe something.
Take a look if we have already 6 parking spots for one business. I mean, it is.
Even if they find.
When are we going to stop? The guy wants, at the beginning, he used to come and every month he would want 2 more. And one day I told him, that's it, no more.
Yeah, but
Because that's, there are parking spots. If they want to double park, they can double park on the side streets, right? They don't have to double park all right there. And if we limit to 30 minutes, that's.
yeah, that was.
So no, I don't know what we are voting without looking for the spot.
I guess what I would say is,
No,
the 6 spots are on whatever 20th Street.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and I guess they are always full, so maybe that answers the question, but it may be easier to park on the avenue than on the side street, right? So then if you deterring people from parking on the side street, if there was place on the avenue, maybe they would utilize that more. But if they're already full, then whatever, and it seems like the consensus is, and based on the blowback, they already have 6 spots, why are we gonna give them more? So let's leave it up.
Okay. All right, motion. Second. We have a second?
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, all right.
Thank you all, thank you for everyone's contribution, thank you, we'll get this out, thank you for all the time. Yeah. But all right, our last.
Now, idling trucks on West 25th Street.
Mr. Freeman. Hanging out with us, I said I'd try to get you in about 4-9. Yeah. Yeah, do you mind coming up here, because the microphone is here, so we wanna make sure we can hear you. It's best if you could stand in this corner. Come on, stand in the corner.
And then you
Did you
do-
send the thing to,
Yeah, I think I was just supposed to connect on Zoom.
okay.
Um.
As an attendee, right?
Yeah.
These are the very important questions. Very complicated question, right? Gateway is easy.
No, remind me of the taxi lines, the halal carts, like the express lines for the taxi drivers. They're like drive up to the window and then drive out. It's straight food cart. What is this?
It's just complicated.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, it's really hard.
Is it you?
That is
Wow.
me, yeah.
You look
What
like
is
an
this?
agency.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
It's just spectacular.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm not eagerly, so I'm gonna get in the corner, but okay.
Okay.
Well, in the corner. All right. Well, thanks for having us. I know it's been a long night. So I'm here with Sarah. I'm John Freeman, Sarah Selman, to talk about some significant challenges we've been facing on West 25th Street between 6th and 7th Avenue. And we've done a fair bit of homework and we think we have a proposal that can help solve these issues. And so want to run that by you all. So the block is, our building is 107 West 25th Street, which is a multi-story co-op. It has commercial units running the ground floor and resident windows open directly onto the street. And also there's residences on the other side. There's also a hotel on the other side as well. We have a commercial tenant, Metro Speedy, which is a last mile micro fulfillment center. So it does cargo bike deliveries. So Fresh Direct trucks stage on the block to supply Metro Speedy. So there's often 3 to 4 refrigerated trucks present from 4:30 to 10 p.m. 4:30 a.m. And so these are loud refrigeration units. Some people might be familiar with these kinds of trucks on our streets, day in, day night. And this began September 2023. So we're experiencing 7 days a week. This isn't just weekdays from 4:30 in the morning. I'll show you some recordings, but above 70 decibels from indoor apartments, continuously for many hours. Sometimes they leave at 10 p.m. And currently, as I'll talk about, there's 0 active use requirement because of the parking signs, which you all are of course experts in.
Wait a minute, active.
Oh, sure.
What do you mean by that? Active use requirement?
Because it is commercial parking, with no, they can just stand there for as long as they want
Okay.
because of
Not
these parking signs. So because of these 3-hour metered parking, commercial vehicles, they can stage there extensively, as I'll show you, for many, many hours without any kind of active use. They don't have to be loading or unloading. So this is a problem, we think, for several reasons. So it exceeds noise code. I'll talk about that in a moment. Residential character is ignored, so trucks occupy an already congested area. So as I'll talk about, there's residents, hotel guests, taxis, deliveries, emergency vehicles that are all needed here. And it's effectively being used as a private warehouse at the expense of the public interest in residential buildings in a sleep sensitive hotel. There's also some safety concerns I wanted to talk about. So blocking hydrant access. There's lots of evidence about long-term exposure to these kinds of decibels inside apartments has health consequences. The sleep cycles of a lot of front-facing residents are disrupted currently. So from 4 to 5 in the morning, you have loud trucks coming. And also, really critically, there's the narrow street leaves insufficient clearance for emergency vehicles, which is important because there's a lot of emergency needs on the block. So to show you some images, so this is in front of our residence, and you're seeing 3 Fresh Direct trucks that are kind of staged there for many, many hours. So here's kind of other views. So you're seeing also the cargo bike takes up extensive amounts of space on the curb. So really de facto, this entire area is kind of a private warehouse, where there's not a lot of other space. And then also there's one of the parking meters, and you can see whatever that is in terms of cargo and lots of things, which is often just kind of sitting there for extensive periods of time. So noise, which is of particular concern to a lot of residents, so we've measured this and we've measured this. Let me just turn on the sound. Okay, I won't do that, but the most critically, I know you all want to hear the sound of a loud truck, but you're seeing in the top left is the decibel reading. So it's from 70 to 75 or so decibels within apartments. And compare that to 45 decibels when the trucks are not there. And this, according to our understanding of noise code, there's 10 decibels allowed during daytime hours above and beyond the ambient level. And so that's clearly above noise code, from our understanding. And it's important to recognize that this is not just during business hours, it's 7 days a week. So that's showing you right up against the truck. This is Sunday, 8 p.m. and it's about 75 or 80 decibels, on weekends, it's all the time. So a critical thing to also recognize about this area is there's a lot going on. So here is what we're talking about, right? And it's extensive staging all over the block, but there's a lot of other things going on which prevent some issues. So there's Renaissance Chelsea Hotel, which has naturally a lot of pickup drop-off needs. Somewhere Nowhere is a nightclub and day lounge that has highly congested drop-off and pickup needs during both night and day events. So it has hundreds of people queuing outside, a lot of Uber needs, etc. And there's also, it's hard to see there, but BRC homeless shelter that's 200 beds that specifically focuses on individuals with mental health needs or substance abuse. So there's often 5 to 8 emergency vehicle visits per day. And so what occurs here is there's often if the sound worked, you'd hear a lot of honking and such, but there's often a lot of street blockages. This truck can't get through. There's a line. You can see a small daytime event at the club. And because of this staging, and then you're seeing here, right, a lot of it is being used, and there's a lot of street blockages because there's double parking for the hotel and the nightclub or the day lounge, and then all the staging. So it's there's a lot going on. And if I waited enough, I'm sure find cases where there's an ambulance trying to get through and they can't get through. That's definitely happened before. So we think this is a big problem. We also just want to recognize that, we are not opposing last mile delivery. We understand that this is really valuable for the city. There's another model on this very block called Cornucopia Logistics, which doesn't have the extensive truck staging, and it just has quiet e-bikes that come to this area, and then they have separate space that they lease that's away from residents where they do all the extensive truck staging. So this leads us to believe that this is not a necessity of this kind of business. It's more a choice that they're saving money by not leasing that space, and so they're kind of using the space as a warehouse. So from the homework that we've done, of course you all are the experts on this, we think that one remedy would be a neighborhood loading zone. So the problems with this current parking signs is that when tickets are issued, Fresh Direct pays discounted fines through the city's stipulated fine program. So it's really not a deterrent, it's just kind of budgeted cost. Refrigerated trucks are exempt from the 3-minute idling law when refrigeration is running, so there's no noise enforcement. And so really there's no kind of actual practical protection. A neighborhood loading zone, which would be loading only, would allow all deliveries, but only while actively loading or unloading. Violations would be immediately observable by traffic agents, so there's much stronger enforcement, becomes practicable rather than the 3-hour limit, which is very difficult to enforce. And it also, if it were designated a neighborhood loading zone, would allow not just commercial, but also taxis and ride shares to do kind of rapid access there. But if the committee or DOT felt that it should just be commercial access, then a trucks loading only sign would also work. So these kinds of signs, which I'm assuming you're all very familiar with. Although important to think about the timing because this occurs at all days during the week, not just weekdays. So we think that this kind of proposed change would be consistent with a lot of different policies that are already in place. So of course, noise control, this would help to make these trucks more consistent with noise control. Also, the intention of the city or DOT with this 3-hour limit, it's difficult to enforce. So having this kind of change would allow these kinds of time restrictions to be better enforced. Our understanding is that there's a mandate of DOT to expand loading zones since 2021. So it's consistent with that. And also, interestingly, the commanding officer of the 13th precinct independently recommended in September 2023 that the parking signs are the problem and that they should be changed to a more residential designation in this area when thinking through the issues. So all that leads us to recommend or suggest to you all that a recommendation to DOT to designate a neighborhood loading zone that's loading only in this area, which would establish that the curb directly fronting homes is for active loading and unloading and can't be monopolized by all-day truck staging. And this is in line with a growing trend in Chelsea. For example, there are neighborhood loading zones on West 25th Street between 7th and 8th near us, on West 16th Street. So it seems to be an increasingly popular approach. It's also from the research that we've done. There's DOT's own freight management plan has already focused on this issue. So the deputy mayor of operations called this exact situation ad hoc unloading zones of unmanaged curbside truck to bike transfer. And so they've launched this micro hub pilot in April 2025 under the Smart Curbs program, which gives last mile delivery companies regulated transfer of space away from residents, which has Relo's by cargo bike, which they've reported really good results. And the self-contained operator I mentioned that doesn't have all this truck staging seems to mirror this model already. Like it has the leased space away. So we think that this proposal is in line with what the DOT has recognized and what the city recognizes as this is a challenge for the city, but that there are programs and ways to incentivize businesses not to do this, and that this kind of proposal would do that. And just want to be really clear that we think that this is really about managing public curb space fairly for all users and enforcing noise protections that residents are already entitled to, and really about how do we manage public streets. This is absolutely not about blocking Metro Speedy's right to operate a lawful business or preventing Fresh Direct or any carrier from making deliveries on this block. Any kind of questions about zoning or targeting any individual or company or opposing last mile delivery, we feel strongly that that's a really important thing for the city, and we support it like on the other part of our block when implemented in line with noise code and as the city intends. So our recommendations to you are to recommend to DOT to designate this stretch as a loading only neighborhood loading zone, to also consider recommending to the NYPD 13 precinct to prioritize enforcement of curb restrictions following new signage if it were approved, with attention to recurring standing violations. And then also consider referring this area to DOT's curb management and micro hub freight programs and pursue any other measures you think are appropriate. So with that, thank you.
All right.
Nice.
First, excellent presentation.
Thank you.
So glad you brought this to the forefront. Again, this came up in maybe 2 years ago in the cannabis task force. It was brought to our attention about 25th Street. They tried to put a cannabis building at, I guess, 107, 108, one of those, but I remember the neighbors coming and talking about Fresh Direct at the time and the problem. So I'm glad you brought this back up, and I hope we can do whatever to support you.
Thanks. Thank you.
It's really good.
Yes.
I was confused, but is that a tenant of your building?
The commercial tenant?
Yeah.
It is, yeah. It is, but yeah.
Our commercial space is actually managed by somebody else, that's how our co-op was converted over several years ago, and so we don't have any control over the tenant.
It's owned by somebody else. The co-op doesn't own the space.
I think we do, we just have a subtenant who manages the space.
Yeah.
And if you own the space, then you get to know.
They have a 10-year lease, I think is my understanding.
And they have they're very intent on staying, and they're aware of these concerns.
Yeah. Who else? Another question?
I have a question. What, sorry, no, sorry, we got that? No, go ahead. What, the timing again, so, I mean, loading zones are not I assume 24/7, are they, what
They
would
seem
you-
to just,
neighborhood loading zones, are they, and like, I mean, is there a way we could, what's the current timing on the commercial sign say?
the current signs are Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 7
So they're
p.m.
not abiding by that time regardless.
They're not, yeah.
They're definitely.
Well, I mean,
No, but
outside that.
outside of that.
Oh, yeah.
It's just unregulated,
Okay.
but
So
they,
they're abiding.
yeah, and I mean, I've seen many times they get tickets. They're getting tickets, I can see that, but I
They have
don't,
a deal with the city.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
An alternatively, what would be fantastic would be to make this residential parking on the weekends, which would, there's not that many residential buildings on the block, but it would allow for emergency vehicles to go by, because you're dealing with smaller cars. Somewhere Nowhere mainly operates on the weekends, so you're having taxi drop off mainly on the weekends. That would be a huge help as well, but I know it's a bigger ask. But business hours are typically.
So, can you go back to the third slide from the end, I think.
In terms of
I
this.
just want to recognize the problem. So NYC DOT Freight Management targets this use, calling unmanaged curbside truck-to-bike transfer ad hoc unloading zone. And DOT stated goal is to convert them into official, so they would come and say, okay, this is great, we'll just manage it, right?
Yeah, that is from a 2024 press release that they had that
Right.
quote. But that is part of this program that they launched, this micro hub pilot program, to try to do exactly that. So my understanding is they've regulated or incentivized these kinds of businesses to have a separate lease space away from residents. So essentially to try to convert exactly what is occurring here.
So I get it. I have two concerns. One is that if we do a neighborhood loading zone, what's their name? Fresh Direct is going to park in there. And they are just going to ignore it.
Okay.
Wait, is there a difference between a neighborhood loading zone and the like active loading requirement?
My understanding was that from doing the research, so the older signs were no standing except active loading or unloading.
Right.
And now there is a sign for neighborhood loading zone, which means not just trucks or commercial, but it can also be ride share.
Yeah,
But
I
alternatively,
mean, I think,
yeah.
like, the thing would be easiest to enforce would be, like, no standing unless you're actively loading. It doesn't even matter what type of vehicle it is.
Yeah, you could have something which
Yeah,
no.
But just like, if things are coming in and out of the vehicle, you're good, but if the vehicle's left unattended.
Yeah,
you're not.
so
Yeah.
that was my point. I mean, if you were going to do in front of your building a no standing, or it's a very clear message to the NYPD of what is to be enforced. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I thought that this was like the new version of that sign, but
Pretty
that,
sure it is.
oh, okay,
I think that's right.
yeah.
I think that's what Dot is installing now.
Because I had a no standing except active loading and unloading, which looked, I thought, very exactly this, it's
Right.
a clear red sign. And my understanding is these are the signs now that just says loading only,
No,
but
but
it's,
no standing by itself. I'm not talking
no,
that's whatever. I'm just talking about no standing.
I mean, if that, yeah, I
And
didn't,
that's a black and white kind of thing where the cops come here and it's no standing. So if you have a truck standing there, now it may not help all your issues about dropping people off, but I'm afraid that this is going to
No
be.
standing, it just seems, like, no standing is like what they have at like the airport, like you can literally let a passenger out and then you immediately have to go,
Right.
but like any sort of legitimate commercial delivery would also not like,
Right,
like you
yes,
unload a truck
don't
and it takes
unload.
5 minutes to unload.
Right.
That would also be prohibited by no standing,
Right.
which I don't know if we wanna prohibit that, we
Yeah, I
wanna
think
prohibit like
it's
leaving
really
trucks for
Yeah.
the whole day, we don't
I'm
wanna say
just,
like,
I'm just
your restaurant
focusing
can't get a delivery
on
that takes
what is
5 to 15 minutes.
enforceable. That's what I'm focusing on. I agree with you. I'm
Yeah, but-
just thinking
But active
about,
loading is enforceable. 3 hours is not enforceable, because who knows how many hours it's been there. They're gonna come back in 3.5 hours and check. But you can see, I mean, like, in the same way that like, like there's, I mean, I feel like just in general, like even if you're parked somewhere you shouldn't be parked, if there's a driver in the passenger seat, they probably won't ticket you. The same fits to like if you put a sign up that says no, like loading only, like it's clear like there has to be a human there. If there's a person there, they won't ticket it, but it's if there's no one there, like they'll be like, okay, it's clearly sitting there, there's no one.
Okay.
I guess my question on this is, and this kind of plays into the argument that if the trucks are on because they're idling and they can get
Right.
running for longer than 3 minutes, isn't there an argument to be saying that they're technically loading, even if there's nobody in the vehicle?
No, the idling 3 minutes, it doesn't,
It doesn't count for
the refrigeration.
Right, so I'm saying if the truck is on, wouldn't a police officer that comes by say, oh, they're still loading because the
No.
truck is on?
Loading is an activity, like.
Yeah,
taking-
they would, yeah.
Yeah.
And then how would that affect like the cargo
Well, it should
that's
be.
in the street as
Right.
well? Would that have to?
And what about the other thing?
Sorry, what was
I'm
that?
sorry.
The cargo that's in the street, would that have to be removed as well in a loading zone, you know?
What do you mean the cargo which is in the?
Cargo bikes.
No, like the actual cargo.
Cargo shouldn't be able.
Yeah, I don't think it's supposed to be there at all.
It's not supposed to be there at all.
Yeah.
But here is another question. If we were going to take the 3 trucks, right? Is there another place on the street to put them?
Well, the rest of the block is metered commercial parking, just like this sign, except for a couple small areas like right in front of the hotel, which is no standing.
And the BRC, I believe, has some.
And BRC has a little,
So what are you saying?
there is metered
They could
commercial.
be there.
Y-
It could go there.
It could go elsewhere on the block, you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
The problem is that they just, they
They wanna get close to
sit
the
there all day long.
No, but I mean, if they were going somewhere else on the block where it doesn't bother anyone, the fact that they sit there the whole day, who cares, right?
Well, I mean, we care because you can't have a grocery store in the street. It's a
Yeah.
pain that we've been dealing with.
No,
It should be like, it's a 3-hour sign, like, the Whole Foods and Trader Joe's pay property
Yes.
tax or rent or whatever, and like, it's not a sustainable model.
So
I don't
I'm,
know if we can write a letter to change that, but.
I'm happy with the loading, the neighborhood loading zone. I'm just nervous about
Yeah, well,
that it
how much
is
do the
not
other,
going to be respected.
how much do the other commercial spots on the street, how much are they used? Are they full all the time?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's
You're saying
parking.
like the.
Meaning if we just change this to residential parking or something and force them to move further down the street,
Yeah.
like, would they be able to use that? spot?
Yeah, absolutely.
Would there be
Because
spots?
It's open right now, it's just utilized for coming and going by the BRC, and then there's like, it's more of a
We just did
loading.
that. What if we just made it residential
It's
parking?
more.
Utility, lots of people will use the loading zone, like anyone who's getting picked up by an Uber from the hotel can use that same parking, like,
I think
that's really
the
helpful.
problem
for
is that nobody else is able to use it.
Yeah.
Because
If we made it-
the hotel uses it across the street, and we've had issues with that in the past where they're double parking and people aren't allowed to come through. We can call and that's more easily enforceable. The problem is that it's not, like an Uber never drops us off on the curb in front of our apartment because it's covered by trucks. So
How big is the commercial parking zone? Remind me, is it like how many trucks could fit in the current commercial parking zone in front of your building?
on either side, probably like 5, they really lined up.
So like maybe there's an argument to be made that we could,
Yeah, I guess it goes into your argument. about-
reduce the size of make one of those truck sizes a loading zone. Make others residential parking and then try to see if they'll use the other available commercial parking on the spot that's not in front of a residential building, because that.
And what residential parking is,
Like the rest of the block. Like I understand it's like commercial on the first floor, but like, isn't the rest of the block have other residential?
it's actually all labeled commercial parking, that same sign.
No, but
The actual resident, like other residents, yeah. Are we gonna, if the truck moves to up another spot, are there gonna be residents who live right above it who we're gonna be hearing from, is the question, because then it doesn't solve any problems.
It's
I'm
mostly
trying to.
office buildings.
Yeah,
It is, right?
I mean, I think there
Mostly-
are a couple, we're definitely, this is like the resident focused part of the block, but I mean, there's probably residents on, maybe some of the buildings, but.
But I think the problem is like the emissions from the trucks running all day.
That's the problem.
Right in front of.
Wildly near the last time we needed to get rid of a fresh track truck, we put a city bike rack there.
Yeah, we did do that.
I mean, there are city bike racks on 24th and 6th.
Don't mind that.
Like, we would have to maybe like relocate, but I don't know if we could get DOT to do that, but that did get rid of the last pretty well.
I like that.
That's
That
great.
was good.
That is,
I do think we're gonna have to give them some loading zone, otherwise we're never, like, this is just gonna be it.
but they are in other places. They have commercial parking.
I think
saying,
if you go to the picture too of
Yeah.
the block,
What's there?
oftentimes they do in front of our building, in front of the residential building on the other side and all the way down to the corner. And I think that corner is only commercial, there's nobody residential above it, it's only office space, like that's a great commercial loading zone. If you wanted to offer a
yeah,
corner up to part of the block,
that's what
but
we would do.
once you get to where this third fresh direct truck is, that's right in front of
Yeah.
the residential building and right in front of our building.
But show us the existing regulation right now. Can you show us
The
that?
parking sign?
Yeah, the parking signs. This is on the whole stretch.
He's zoomed in or.
This is on the,
You got it.
this is on the whole stretch from where to where? The whole.
This runs the entire length of your building?
Yeah,
No, the street.
the, well, from the DOT website, the map of the parking signs, everything is this on the block.
Okay.
Except for right in front of the hotel and right in front of the shelter.
So if, I mean, you know, they have the space. In the
other
rest of
places.
the thing, so
But
you
I-
could say, let's put a city bike. Or let's put a.
I agree, but we all, I mean, if we're doing this, the correct sign should be loading and unloading regardless for a fresh direct truck that's not,
Yes.
doesn't
Right.
need to sit there all day. So even if we're putting a city bike thing, the other, at least one of the other signs needs to change to loading, unloading, and it should be the one that's closest to this building.
Well, it should be the one which is on the other side of the bikes. So you should have your building, the bikes. And then on the other side,
have
the loading and unloading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
okay.
your
That's how it's
building
spelled
would
out.
be the city bike,
Hotel across the street.
right? And your building would be the city bike,
The hotel already has an standing in front of it.
right?
That sounds.
Yeah, I don't know what the
Great.
sign is in front of the hotel.
It's no standing.
No standing.
For no standing because of hotel loading.
So let's try it.
But Christine, wouldn't they want a loading and unloading for like Ubers in front of their building?
But you can do it.
And then
They have across the street, they have
There is one across.
there's already no standing, like right across.
I think residents feel whatever would be as like as long as the enforcement, this is significant challenge.
No, it's not the city bike because this is physical
Yeah.
and that's it. They can't park. They can't park in front of their building.
Yeah, and it doesn't allow for, I mean, if emergency vehicles.
Right.
To abuse, we do.
Right.
Face.
And so, and what you're saying is that the loading would be on the other side.
Other
the
side of
bikes.
bikes, so it's like,
Right,
and
of the-
change that sign for
that
loading,
bike.
unloading, and not from a trailer.
If you worry that they're gonna ruin
Half
the
an
bike
hour.
rack by trying to get in and out,
No.
No,
you know what I mean, like.
that solved the problem. Where was it? It was
No.
50 something.
Yeah, I think what you don't want is any commercial metered parking anymore.
Right.
You
Yeah.
just want loaded.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
is residential parking an option on some of it? I
On
don't
weekends it is, when you have these neighborhood loading zones, I remember reading about this, neighborhood loading zones were meant specifically for double parked vehicles in residential streets.
Right.
And on weekends, residents can park there,
Huh.
and you actually
There you
get a sign that says no parking, no standing. But then under that, there's another smaller sign that gives them rules on what it is. And it basically-
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is why the cops don't enforce it.
They're starting to.
Nobody
remember
But as far as rule change, they changed the city text, I follow this too, they changed the city text on what loading actually is. And loading is actually active, it has to be, it's in the definition of the rule text.
Yes.
So when they did the city rule change, all this shit, they did change it to active, and it's no longer unactive.
You can't make it up.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Okay, so I think we have a
We got a
plan.
plan,
Yes.
we're gonna give it a try.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Are the cargo bikes are just allowed to park commercial, I guess?
right now, they are, yeah.
Yeah.
And we're not gonna, oh, that's a good point, if we, so that,
Cargo bikes aren't a problem.
That's,
yeah, that's a good point, if we.
You can have onto the sidewalk a little.
they're taking up all of these spaces, there's commercial loading.
But I guess the point is that we can't change the sign right in front of bikes.
No.
Because if it's loading and loading, then
Right.
it creates
Right.
more chaos, we're just dealing with the trucks.
Maybe that's the next
Um,
thing that we should actually do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just doing, it's a chaos street, so we'll do city bike, city bike. Keep one commercial sign where the bikes are and the bikes will stay there, and then next to that, a loading, unloading zone. Can we get a motion on that, but?
You good with that? For the shot.
Worth a shot.
All those in favor?
Okay.
Anyone opposed?
Nobody.
Pete, what do we got?
No,
Pete?
it's falling fast.
No, I'm just one shred. All in favor,
Bikes are
great.
actually parked. So like, that is commercial. They are commercial vehicles that are parked.
Yeah.
I
Yes,
do
for
wonder
3
if we're
hours.
each paying a meter.
I mean, that, they will be parking.
No, they're-
Cause they're just stopping, moving up and then like delivering.
Sorry, bikes. They're permanently parked there.
Like
They're not like.
and the refrigeration.
Is that if
Sitting.
you don't-
The bikes are like two
right
delivered.
now, So we move the bikes.
Like the whole
So
business,
this
but
is, we
the,
have to shoot down battle.
I don't know, well, yeah, but all of these people should just pay for a warehouse space or a parking lot.
Yeah.
Load out the load.
Yes.
All right.
Wait a minute, let me just
Okay.
make sure I understand that. So we're talking, the street is going what, east to west?
Yeah.
East to west, right?
Wait, no, that's west to east.
Oh, sorry, you mean,
The street.
It's got, yeah.
Yeah.
Sixth Ave-
Six your hand and.
Sixth Avenue is here and Seventh Avenue is there.
So which way is it going?
The traffic is going, yeah.
East to west.
No, west to east.
No, east to west.
East to west.
East to west, east to west.
East to west. So what we have is that we want, a new building is at the eastern part or the western part?
For instance, east part.
A new building.
Your building.
Oh, sorry, is on the
Eastern
the west,
Western
the eastern
part.
part, the eastern.
It's on the corner of Sixth and.
Eastern end, 107.
6 and 7. So on the eastern part, we want a bike share. Okay, and then further west, we would have the bikes. And further west, we would have the loading.
Yeah.
And we can, you'll send us, like actual addresses in front of what,
Right.
so that when we put it in the letter.
Right, so we don't, the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Cause it's right on the corner
Yeah.
is a pizza shop, so that's fine for neighborhood loading or commercial parking. I think it would be nice to have it a little bit in off of Sixth Avenue.
The city budget needs to be a little bit.
Yeah, but DOT hates to do a sliced cheese. So they like to do a whole side the same way. So here we're going to challenge it, but we don't want to do, in front of this guy this way.
Okay.
That's a big word.
Yes.
Okay, so we have a motion, right? We voted on that?
Yeah, we voted, we've done it, yeah.
All right, let
Right.
me.
Just send us the
so much.
location so that we can be like, the city bike rack needs to go in front of this, just send us the addresses at the door. Okay.
So I have a
We
question.
voted, we're done.
Wait, I have a question, whether, this is a little too late, maybe,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Comment?
Can we let these nice people go home?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
They'll have to do it next month. Right?
Yes.
Because we don't want to short
He's
change.
doing the presentation.
Oh
I
my.
know, we put so much work
At
into
least I
it.
put it together.
Put so much work into it.
August? No, not August. September?
Oh,
July. Oh, yeah, July.
So you're like, I'm not. I hear like I'm leaving the board.
July. Okay, motion to adjourn. You have so excellent. I'm really proud of you.
I'm excited since the presentation. Really, it's because the presentation. We have to. I actually enjoy ourselves. Thank you, Janine. Thank you,
Thank you. Everybody's doing amazing work.